This summer, the AI world didn't just evolve, it exploded, and what's coming next could leave you stunned. AI robots with 3 brains are now learning at speeds beyond human capability, and new models are generating videos so realistic it's hard to tell them apart from the real thing. OpenAI has been rolling out multiple ChatGPT updates, all leading up to the highly anticipated GPT-5, which is just around the corner. Meanwhile, Google's Gemini Pro is pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. Elon Musk's XI Grok 2 model is shaking up the field, and humanoid robots are no longer a distant idea. They're actually replacing human jobs as we speak. The future is here, and it's more shocking and unpredictable than ever. In this video, we'll cover all the major AI breakthroughs, models, robots, and developments from the summer of 2024. Stay tuned, because what you're about to see is a glimpse into the fascinating reality unfolding around us. At a pace so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up with everything happening in the world of AI. OpenAI has announced a new AI search engine called SearchGPT. Obviously, it's powered by AI, and it's setting up to be a serious competitor to the likes of Google and Bing. Let's unpack what this means and why it's such a game changer. So, OpenAI is rolling out SearchGPT as a prototype to a select group of users and publishers. It's designed to combine the capabilities of OpenAI's AI models with real-time web searches. What's different here is that SearchGPT doesn't just spit out a list of links, it actually organizes the information and presents it in a more user-friendly way. Let me give you an example from OpenAI's blog post. Say you search for music festivals in Boone, North Carolina in August 2024. SearchGPT won't just throw a bunch of links at you, it'll give you a summary of the festivals it found, complete with little descriptions and links to the sources. They say their new search engine aims to make finding information online faster and more efficient. Everything is presented in a clear, conversational format, which makes the whole experience a lot more intuitive. OpenAI is planning to eventually integrate these search features directly into ChatGPT, which could be a major upgrade for users who already rely on ChatGPT for various tasks. Now, OpenAI is also addressing some of the major concerns that have come up with AI in search. We've seen other AI search tools, like Google's AI Overviews and Perplexity, face backlash from publishers. These tools have been accused of taking content without proper attribution, which can hurt traffic and ad revenue for the original sites. But OpenAI is taking a different approach by partnering with publishers and giving them control over how their content is used. They've even got big names like the Wall Street Journal and The Atlantic on board, which speaks to the level of trust they're building. One of the standout features of SearchGPT is how it handles attributions. When you search for something, you get answers with clear inline citations and links to the original sources. This not only helps users know where the information is coming from, but also directs traffic back to the publishers. This move is directed at fostering a more symbiotic relationship between AI tools and content creators. In the early stages, only about 10,000 test users will have access to SearchGPT. OpenAI is using direct content feeds and working with third-party partners to build the search results. This approach is all about getting feedback and fine-tuning the system before a wider rollout. The idea is to make web searches not just faster, but also more accurate and reliable. Now, OpenAI's entry into the search market comes at a time when Google is facing significant challenges. The US Department of Justice has an antitrust lawsuit against Google, accusing it of monopolizing the internet search industry. And this opens the door for competitors like SearchGPT to make a significant impact. Alphabet shares fell 3.6% in after-hours trading following OpenAI's announcement of SearchGPT. Google, which currently dominates the search market with about 90% of search engine traffic, is facing a direct challenge from OpenAI's latest innovation. This development highlights the growing competition in the AI search space, particularly between Microsoft-backed OpenAI and Google. Now, OpenAI's new SearchGPT is a perfect example of why you actually need to know how to use AI to stay relevant at work. If you've been noticing, a lot of people are losing their jobs just because they don't know how to use AI tools to make their daily tasks easier. The best way to keep your job and maybe even get ahead is to learn how to use AI and make yourself 10 times more efficient. Now, I've got something awesome for you, a ChatGPT and AI workshop hosted by Growth School. It's a 3-hour session all about using AI tools and ChatGPT. And it's usually paid, but the first 1,000 people can join for free. This workshop is a game changer for anyone working or running their own business. Our team gave it a perfect 5 out of 5 rating, and you'll find the link in the description. It actually doesn't matter what you do, whether you're in tech, sales, marketing, HR, operations, freelancing, or running a business. This workshop will teach you strategies for getting a raise, job hunting, solving big data problems with Excel in just 5 minutes, personal branding, deep data analysis, and even business strategies. Hosted by Growth School, this workshop has already helped over 1 million people. Supported by leading global investors, Growth School was recognized as one of LinkedIn's top startups in 2022 and 2023, so don't miss out. Register now for free as one of the first 1,000 participants. Click the link in the description to sign up. See you there. All right, now, back to the unfolding story of AI-powered search engines. OpenAI's unveiling of SearchGPT has been seen as a significant threat to Google's search dominance since the rise of ChatGPT in 2022. In response, Google has integrated AI features into its own search engine to fend off competition from rivals like ChatGPT and Perplexity, which is backed by Jeff Bezos. Despite these efforts, speculation about Alphabet's potential vulnerability to AI competition had not materialized, as evidenced by Alphabet's recent double-digit advertising revenue growth for its second quarter. SearchGPT, however, represents a more direct and formidable challenge to Google than previous innovations. OpenAI described it as a prototype designed to combine the capabilities of their AI models with real-time web information, providing fast and timely answers with clear and relevant sources. Another really interesting aspect of SearchGPT is the visual answers feature. While full details are still a bit unclear, it seems like this will involve AI-generated videos and images to enhance the search experience. This could be incredibly useful for visual learners or for topics that lend themselves well to graphical representations. OpenAI has been steadily moving towards tighter, real-time web integration for ChatGPT. GPT 3.5 was an early step in that direction with more current information. Then came the Browse with Bing feature, a basic implementation but a clear signal of their intent. Now, SearchGPT takes a major leap by making AI a central part of how we search the web. It's evident that OpenAI doesn't just want to compete with existing search engines, they want to fundamentally redefine how we interact with online information. By making searches more conversational and seamlessly blending up-to-date web data, they aim to create a smoother, more efficient user experience. This prototype phase is critical for working out any kinks and ensuring the system functions well for a wide audience before a broader rollout. They are obviously taking the time to gather feedback, make adjustments, and deliver a polished product. It's clear now that SearchGPT isn't just about finding information, it represents a reshaping of the entire search experience to be more engaging, visually compelling, and tightly interwoven with the ever-evolving web. So what's next for SearchGPT? OpenAI plans to keep iterating and improving the experience, especially in areas like local information and e-commerce. They'll be seeking feedback from both users and publishers to make the service even better. If you're interested in trying it out, you can sign up for the waitlist on their website. This SearchGPT release could really shake up the online search industry. With Google facing major antitrust lawsuits and new AI-powered search tools like SearchGPT emerging, we're seeing big changes in how people will find and access information on the internet. This is an area that's heating up, so it's worth paying attention as things are about to get competitive and disruptive. All right, now, turning to a more critical matter, OpenAI is struggling with major financial problems. According to internal projections, the company is expected to lose a staggering $5 billion this year. That's right, $5 billion. To put that number into perspective, that's roughly the GDP of a small country. So what's going on? Well, it turns out that developing and maintaining AI models like ChatGPT is extremely expensive. The company needs to pay for massive amounts of computing power to process all the data and generate responses. And we're not talking about just any computers, we're talking about supercomputers that can handle enormous amounts of information. But that's not all. OpenAI has also been hiring a lot of new staff to help develop and improve its AI models. In fact, the company has doubled its workforce in the past year alone. And all those new employees come with a hefty price tag. Now, you might be wondering how OpenAI plans to make up for all these losses. Well, the company does generate some revenue from ChatGPT, but it's not nearly enough to cover its expenses. In fact, estimates suggest that ChatGPT only brings in around $100 million to $200 million per year. That's a tiny fraction of what OpenAI needs to break even. So who's footing the bill? Well, it turns out that Microsoft is providing subsidies to help cover its losses. But even with Microsoft's support, OpenAI is still struggling to find a way to make its business model work. The problem is that their primary focus is on research, not generating revenue. The company wants to push the boundaries of what's possible with AI, but that's a costly and time-consuming process. And while ChatGPT has been a huge success, it's still not clear how OpenAI plans to monetize it in the long term. This raises some serious questions about the future of OpenAI. Can the company find a way to make its business model work, or will it continue to rely on Microsoft's subsidies? And what happens if Microsoft decides to pull the plug? The truth is, OpenAI's struggles are a reminder that developing AI is incredibly challenging and expensive. It's not just a matter of throwing a bunch of money at the problem and hoping for the best. It takes time, effort, and resources to create AI models that are truly useful and effective. But despite these challenges, OpenAI is still pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI. And that's something to be excited about. With its talented team and focus on research, OpenAI has the potential to make some truly groundbreaking discoveries. Alright guys, let's talk about the insane pace of AI and robotics development lately. It's been moving fast, real fast, but what's happening in China right now is on a whole other level. They've created an AI robot that's unlike anything we've seen before. And trust me, when I first heard about this, my mind was blown. Let's cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase!
This isn't your average robot with a silicon brain. Nah, these mad scientists have gone and given it a brain made from actual living cells. You're not mishearing me. We're talking about a robot with a partially biological brain. They've crossed a line that many thought was uncrossable, redefining the very essence of artificial intelligence. Now, before you start picturing some kind of cyborg monstrosity, let me paint you a clearer picture. They're calling this thing a brain on a chip. Sounds pretty futuristic, right? Well, it kinda is. Instead of relying on traditional computer circuits, these researchers have grown teeny tiny brain cells in a lab and plopped them onto a microchip. With surgical precision, they've transplanted the essence of human cognition into the cold heart of a machine, kickstarting a whole new era of smart machines. But here's where it gets really trippy. Our brains, right? They're these complex networks of neurons all firing and connecting. Somehow, these absolute geniuses have managed to recreate that on this tiny chip. Now let's rewind a bit and talk about how they actually pulled this off. It all starts with stem cells, the superheroes of the cell world. These little guys can transform into pretty much any cell in your body. It's like cellular shape-shifting. So these scientists took these stem cells and essentially said, today you're gonna be brain cells, and somehow they actually managed to do it. They coaxed these cells into growing into this intricate network of brain cells, mimicking what you'd find in a human brain. Then, in a move that probably made every sci-fi writer jealous, they stuck this cellular brain onto a special microchip. And just like that, robot brain. Now you might be thinking this is cool and all, but why should we care? Well, let me tell you, this is a game changer. Most AI we deal with today is based on computer programs, right? It's all coded and pre-programmed, but this is a whole different ball game. This robot can actually learn and adapt like a living creature. It's not just following a set of instructions, it's experiencing things and changing based on what it learns. It's closer to how our brains work than any AI we've seen before.
It's beautiful.
You have to guess. What's it look like?
Like it's thinking.
The implications of this are huge. Just take a second to consider the possibilities. Think about how this could revolutionize our understanding of the brain itself.
Artificial intelligence.
By studying these lab-grown brain networks, we might uncover new ways to tackle neurological diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. It's not just cool science, it's potentially life-changing stuff. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This tech, as amazing as it is, also opens up a whole can of worms when it comes to ethics. We're entering uncharted territory here. At what point does a robot with a living brain become, well, alive? It's not just a philosophical question anymore. It's something we might actually have to grapple with in the near future. Now, I can almost hear some of you freaking out. Skynet, anyone? Are we on the brink of a robot uprising? Relax, we're not quite there yet. This is still early days, and there's a lot of work to be done before we see this tech out in the wild. But it does mean we need to start having serious conversations about the implications of this technology. The thing is, this isn't just about creating smarter machines. It's about blurring the lines between artificial and biological intelligence. We're talking about a future where the boundaries between AI and biotechnology start to disappear. It's exciting, it's a little scary, and it's definitely going to change the world as we know it. But here's the thing, with all this potential comes a huge responsibility.
Are you afraid that I'm gonna turn into some kind of criminal? Quit worrying about me, okay?
We're not just talking about technological advancement here, we're talking about potentially redefining what it means to be alive, to be conscious. These are big, heavy concepts that we as a society need to wrestle with. But that's the nature of progress, isn't it? It pushes us out of our comfort zones, forces us to confront new realities, and while it can be daunting, it's also incredibly exciting. Now, interestingly, Jeff Bezos and SoftBank have invested a staggering $300 million in a startup called Skilled AI. Now, it seems these folks aren't going for the whole lab-grown human cells brain in a robot thing. Instead, they're aiming to build a full-on artificial brain from the ground up. They say they're pioneering what they call a robot brain, which is about crafting a general-purpose AI brain that can be installed in any robot, making it capable of performing complex and varied tasks without needing specific programming for each task. Skilled AI, led by some brilliant minds from Carnegie Mellon, envisions a future where robots can handle adverse physical conditions or perform dexterous manipulations in industrial and household environments. They're pushing the envelope towards developing artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which aims to achieve human-like intelligence in robots. Now, there's actually another breakthrough in robotics, maybe not as crazy as human brains in robots, but still pretty wild. An Indian company's just jumped into the robot game, and they're not messing around. So Zen Technologies and their partner AI Turing Technologies have cooked up this four-legged robot. They're calling it Prahasta, which is apparently some badass warrior from Hindu mythology. And let me tell you, this thing's no joke. Picture this. A robot dog, but instead of fetching your slippers, it's carrying an assault rifle. Yeah, this isn't Boston Dynamics parkour bot. This thing's built for defense. Now, Prahasta's got some seriously cool tech under the hood. It uses something called LiDAR, which is like radar but with lasers to scan its surroundings. And it's got AI that helps it understand the terrain and plan missions. These guys released a video showing off what Prahasta can do, and it's pretty impressive. This robot's climbing stairs like it's nothing with a gun strapped to its back. It's hopping over obstacles and gaps like some kind of mechanical gazelle. And get this, they say it can even pick up a fully grown adult. I'm talking about a robot dog that can fireman carry a 180-pound person, which could be potentially life-saving in dangerous situations. If this robot gets knocked over, it can get right back up on its own. They're calling it auto-resurrection, which sounds pretty dramatic, but when you see it in action, it's hard not to be impressed. Now, they've also unveiled Barbaric URCWS. It's basically a remote-controlled weapon station that they're claiming is the lightest in the world, and it's not just for land. They're saying it can be used on ships, too. The folks at Zen are pretty hyped about all this. Their big boss, Ashok Atluri, is talking about how these robots are going to change the game for defense operations. He thinks this is going to make people sit up and take notice of how important robotics could be in combat and recon missions. It's worth noting that Zen's not new to this game. They've been in the defense tech business for a while, making things like anti-drone systems and combat simulators. In fact, they've shipped out over 1,000 simulators and training systems worldwide. So, what does all this mean? Well, we're looking at a future where robots aren't just in factories or delivering packages. We're talking about robots that could be on the front lines. But of course, just like with the brain chip robots, this raises some big questions. How much autonomy should we give to armed robots? What are the ethical implications of using AI in defense? These are heavy topics we're going to have to wrestle with as this tech keeps advancing. If you've been following all the latest AI news and events, then you know everyone's been going nuts waiting for OpenAI to drop their new Sora model. But while we were all patiently waiting, this Chinese company called Kuaishou just went and dropped an absolute game changer out of nowhere. They released this wild new AI model called Kling, and man, it is blowing everyone's minds with what it can do. So let's get into it. Kling is a video generation model developed by Kuaishou, a company you might know from their popular app, Kwai. This new model is like Sora, but some are saying it might even be better in some areas. What's really cool is that Kling is open access, meaning more people can get their hands on it and see what it can do. Let me paint a picture for you. So a prompt that says, "A Chinese man sits at a table and eats noodles with chopsticks." Kling takes this and generates a video that looks almost too realistic. And if you remember that infamous video of Will Smith eating noodles that looked like something straight out of a horror movie, well, Kling's version puts that to shame. It's like night and day, seriously.
Hey, Uncle Phil, come try this.
Kling can generate videos up to 2 minutes long with just a single prompt, in full 1080p quality at 30 frames per second, which is actually pretty impressive. It accurately simulates real-world physical properties, which means the videos it creates don't just look good, they behave like real-life videos too. The magic behind Kling lies in its diffusion transformer architecture. This technology helps it translate rich textual prompts into vivid, realistic scenes. Plus, Kling uses a proprietary 3D VAE, that's variational autoencoder, and supports various aspect ratios thanks to variable resolution training. Basically, it can handle different video dimensions and still produce high-quality output. One of the standout features of this model is its advanced 3D face and body reconstruction technology. It allows it to create videos where characters show full expression and limb movements, all driven from a single full-body photo. So essentially, this tech is what makes the videos look so lifelike and consistent. Now, this whole thing is making it pretty clear that China is seriously stepping up its game when it comes to AI development. Kling is just a glimpse of what's coming out of the country, and it's giving us a hint that they might be ahead of the curve. OpenAI has said they'll release Sora by the end of the year, but with Kling already out, they might have some catching up to do. The big question, though, is whether China will make Kling available worldwide. Right now, it's accessible through the Kwai app, but you need a Chinese phone number to use it. Now, Kling isn't the first AI video generation model from China. Back in April, Kuaishou released Vidu AI, which could create 16-second videos in 1080p resolution. Kling is the next evolution of that, offering longer videos with even better quality. If you check out Kling's website, you'll see some of their demo videos, and let me tell you, they're pretty impressive. For example, there's a video of an emperor angelfish swimming in a rocky underwater habitat, a man riding a horse in the Gobi Desert during sunset, and even a white cat driving a car through a busy urban street. These videos showcase the model's ability to handle complex scenes and movements while maintaining high quality. The technology behind Kling involves a 3D spatiotemporal joint attention mechanism, which helps it model complex movements and generate video content with larger motions that conform to the laws of physics. So, when you see a man riding a horse in the desert, the horse's movements, the dust trails, and even the sunset in the background all look just right. Kling also uses efficient training infrastructure and extreme inference optimization. This allows it to generate videos up to 2 minutes long at a smooth 30 FPS. One example they showed was a little boy riding a bicycle through different seasons in a garden. The video maintained high consistency and detail throughout, which is no small feat for AI-generated content. Another cool thing about this model is its strong concept combination ability. Like, it can take different ideas and merge them into a single coherent video. Like this prompt, white cat driving a car through a bustling city. Footage like that doesn't exist in real life, but Kling can create it from scratch, making it look believable. It also excels in movie-quality image generation. The AI can produce videos that look like they were shot with a professional camera crew. One example they showed was a man and a woman walking under a starry sky with the stars moving in the background. The level of detail and quality in these videos is truly cinematic. What's more, Kling supports various video aspect ratios. Whether you need a square video for Instagram, a portrait for TikTok, or a landscape for YouTube, it can actually handle it all. And this flexibility is super useful for content creators who want to use the same video across different platforms. So let's talk about some more examples from the demos. One video shows a Chinese man eating noodles with chopsticks. The details are so precise that if you saw this at a lower resolution, you might not even realize it's AI generated. Another video shows a chef chopping onions in a kitchen, and the way the onions are cut and split by the knife is incredibly realistic. But the video I mentioned before a cat driving a car through a busy street. This one is particularly impressive because it combines a lot of different elements: cars, buildings, pedestrians, and the cat's movements, all in one seamless video. Another demo features a volcano erupting inside a coffee cup, showing off Kling's ability to create fictional scenes that look convincingly real. And one of my favorites is a Lego character visiting an art gallery. The video captures the unique way Lego characters move, just like in the Lego movies. There's even a clever focus shift from one character to another, showing that Kling can handle depth and focus changes just like a real camera. Another standout feature is Kling's ability to simulate real-world physics. One demo shows milk being poured into a cup, with the milk flowing steadily and filling the cup realistically. This might seem simple, but it's actually quite challenging for AI to get these physical interactions right. Kling's technology is also capable of generating videos with temporal consistency. This means the AI maintains a logical flow and coherence over longer videos. In one example, a video of a train traveling through different landscapes stays consistent for the entire 2 minutes, which is really impressive. Overall, Kling is showing us that China is rapidly advancing in AI video generation technology. They're not just keeping up with the best models from the US. In some cases, they're surpassing them. This could lead to a competitive race in AI development, with countries striving to outdo each other, which might bring both exciting advancements and potential risks. I can't wait to see how OpenAI responds to this Kling AI model from Kuaishou. It definitely seems like they're going to want to get their Sora model out there sooner than originally planned to keep up with the competition. But while we're all eagerly awaiting OpenAI's response and reaction to Kling, we're also getting some really interesting news from the company itself. In a surprising move, OpenAI has revived its robotics team after disbanding it 3 years ago. With AI-driven robotics investment surging, the company is now actively hiring research engineers for this newly reassembled team. While specifics are under wraps, job listings indicate the engineers will focus on training multimodal models, developing features for partners, and optimizing core models. Interestingly, OpenAI aims to integrate its tech into other companies' robotic systems rather than competing directly. Over the past year, OpenAI's venture fund has invested in several humanoid robotics companies like Figure AI, whose robot leverages OpenAI's models. This collaboration hints at a promising future for AI-powered robotics. Robotics has always been key to OpenAI's mission, and this revival suggests a strategic pivot to capitalize on the integration of AI and robotics. Okay, let's talk about something super exciting and honestly a little bit terrifying in the world of AI. If you've been following the AI image generation scene for a while, you know we've had some big players dominating the space. Midjourney, DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, but guess what? A fresh contender has arrived and it goes by the name Flux. And trust me, you're gonna wanna know about this one. So where do we start? Let's kick things off with a little background on what's been going on in the AI world. You see, for the last couple of years, we've seen a massive boom in AI-generated art. Tools like Adobe Firefly, Midjourney, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion have been battling it out to be the top dog, each one pushing the boundaries with their updates. But now, something new has entered the ring and it's got everyone talking. All right, let me paint you a picture. You're scrolling through your social media feed and you come across an image that looks so real you'd swear it was a photograph. But then you do a double take. Maybe it's the way the text on a lanyard looks a little funky or the patterns in the background seem a bit off. That's when you realize you're not looking at a photo. You're looking at an AI-generated image. And this thing is as close to real as it gets without actually being real. That's Flux for you, and it's causing quite a stir. So, Flux is an open source AI image generator that's being developed by a company called Black Forest Labs. If that name doesn't ring a bell, maybe the fact that some of the folks behind it used to work at Stability AI will, yup, that's the same crew responsible for Stable Diffusion, which, as you know, is a pretty big deal in the AI art world. The company is also working on a text-to-video model that it promises will offer high-quality output and be available open source, branding it state-of-the-art text-to-video for all. Now, since the startup recently secured $31 million in a financing round with backing from well-known tech investor Andreessen Horowitz, it's clear they're on solid footing. According to their homepage under the What's Next section, their upcoming model will be called Soda, and it's set to be available to everyone. Meanwhile, OpenAI's video generator Sora has been around for 6 months but is still only accessible to a select group of testers. Now, let's talk about what makes Flux so special. First off, it's open source, which means the code is out there for anyone to tinker with, modify, and integrate into their own projects. It gives a ton of flexibility to developers, hobbyists, and even small businesses who might not have the resources to invest in more expensive, proprietary tools like Midjourney. But there are actually 3 different versions of Flux. The first one is the Pro version, which is geared towards commercial use. This is the big boy, the model that's meant for companies that want to incorporate high-quality AI image generation into their products or services. Then there's the Dev version, which is a mid-weight model. It's sort of the middle ground, still powerful, but not quite as heavy-duty as the Pro version. And lastly, there's the Schnell version. Schnell means fast in German, by the way, which is fitting because this version is all about speed. It takes like 2 or 3 seconds for this model to generate an image, which is pretty crazy. It's the lightweight, fast-performing model that's great for those who want quick results without needing a super beefy machine to run it. Speaking of running it, here's another thing that sets Flux apart from its competition. It can run on some pretty modest hardware. Like, if you've got a decently powerful laptop, you're good to go. You don't need a supercomputer or a cloud service to get this thing up and running. That's a big deal because it makes high-quality AI image generation accessible to a much wider audience. When we talk about realism, Flux stands out as a clear leader. As I mentioned before, the images it creates are so lifelike it's hard to believe they're AI generated. In fact, some people are saying that Flux might just be the new king of photorealism, especially when you combine it with something called LoRA. LoRA is a fine-tuning script developed by a group called X Labs, and when you pair it with Flux, the results are nothing short of mind-blowing. We're talking about images that are so detailed, so accurate, that you'd be hard-pressed to tell them apart from real photos, at least at first glance. But, and there's always a but, it's not perfect. If you really start to scrutinize these images, you'll notice some telltale signs that they're AI generated. Text is a big giveaway. Flux still struggles with rendering small text accurately, so if you see something like a lanyard or a sign in the background, the text might look a little off. Patterns and textures can also get a bit wonky, and sometimes elements in the image are just slightly out of proportion. It's nothing that ruins the image outright, but if you're looking for it, you'll spot it. And then there's the issue of skin textures. As good as Flux is at rendering people, it sometimes falls short when it comes to making skin look natural. It actually makes the skin looking better than in reality. You might notice that it can appear a bit too smooth, which breaks the illusion of realism. It's something that Midjourney, especially in its latest version, seems to handle a bit better. But here's the thing, despite these minor imperfections, the images that Flux produces are going viral. And it's not hard to see why. The level of realism it achieves is stunning, and it's got people buzzing about the potential uses for this technology. Think about it. Stock photography, advertising, social media content, there's a huge market for realistic images, and Flux could be a game changer in that space. But as awesome as it is to be able to create hyper-realistic images with just a few clicks, there's also a darker side to this technology. We're already seeing concerns about how AI-generated images could be used to create fake news, commit scams, or spread misinformation. The more realistic these images become, the harder it's going to be to tell what's real and what's not. That's a pretty scary thought. And it's something that we're going to have to grapple with as AI technology continues to evolve. But let's not get too bogged down in the doom and gloom just yet. There's still a lot to be excited about with Flux, especially if you're someone who likes to experiment with new tech. If you're curious about trying it out for yourself, you've got a few options. If you've got a decent laptop, something with a good GPU, you can actually download and run Flux locally. There's a launcher called Pinocchio that makes it super easy to get set up. It's a big file, so it might take a while to download, but once you've got it, you can start generating images right on your own machine. No need to rely on cloud services or internet access, but if your computer isn't up to the task, don't worry. There are plenty of online platforms that have already integrated Flux into their offerings. For example, Night Cafe, which is one of the more popular AI image platforms out there, has added Flux to its lineup. This means you can generate images using Flux and compare them directly with images from other models like Ideogram and Stable Diffusion 3. It's a great way to see how Flux stacks up against the competition in real time. Another platform that's jumped on the Flux bandwagon is Poe. If you're not familiar with Poe, it's an AI model platform that lets you generate images in a chatbot-style format, kind of like how you would with ChatGPT and DALL-E. It's a different approach, but it's cool to see how Flux performs in that kind of environment. And if you're a developer, there are even more options. Flux is available on platforms like Based Labs, Hugging Face, and Fal.ai, which are more geared towards folks who want to dive into the technical side of things. FreePic, one of the biggest names in stock photography, is also working to bring Flux to its site, so keep an eye out for that. So Flux is definitely a model to watch. It's got the potential to shake up the AI image generation scene in a big way, and it's already proving to be a serious contender to establish names like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. A brand new humanoid robot called Figure 02 just got the internet's attention. It is backed by OpenAI and some other huge names in tech like Nvidia, Microsoft, and even Jeff Bezos' private fund. So yeah, it's pretty big. All right, so let's get into it. Figure, the company behind this robot, just dropped a teaser video for their latest model, Figure 02. The video is short, like seriously short, but it's packed with some really interesting details if you look closely. So let's check out the video first, and then I'll break down everything you need to know. All right, so we see some robotic joints, limbs, and these futuristic-looking flexible mesh designs that are probably part of the robot's body. And if you're into specs, they even tease torque ratings up to 150 Newton meters. To break it down, that's basically a measure of how much force the robot can exert when it's moving something. There's also something about a ROM, or range of motion up to 195 degrees, which is kind of a big deal in the world of robotics. Now, Brett Adcock, the founder of Figure, and this guy is not new to wild tech startups. He's also behind Archer Aviation, and Vettery posted on Twitter, or X as it's called now, that Figure 02 is the most advanced humanoid robot on the planet. Bold claim, right? But with the backing they've got, it's hard not to take him seriously. So let's rewind a bit. Figure as a company only started in 2022, which is like yesterday in startup terms. And they've already got a lot of people talking. They came out of nowhere in March 2023 with their first model, Figure 01, which was aimed at tackling global labor shortages. The idea is that these robots can step in to do jobs that are unsafe or just plain boring for humans, like working in warehouses, factories, and retail. And get this, they built their first full-scale humanoid robot in just 6 months. 6 months, people. That's insane. They've got a team of 40 experts, including their CTO, Dr. Jerry Pratt, who's a big name in the robotics world. Their vision is pretty clear. Make robots that boost productivity, make workplaces safer, and get this, they've promised they'll never weaponize these robots. So they're really going for that good guy angle. What's also cool is they've already inked a deal with BMW manufacturing, so we might be seeing these robots in action sooner rather than later. And to top it off, Figure 01 had some impressive integration with OpenAI's GPT-4V model, which is like the top of the line AI tech right now.
Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
So you can bet Figure 02 will be packing some even newer AI models when it drops on August 6th, 2024. Now, Figure isn't the only one in the game. The race to bring AI-powered humanoid robots into our homes and workplaces is heating up. You've got Elon Musk out there saying there's going to be a market for over 10 billion, yes, billion with a B, humanoid robots. He's working on his own robot, Tesla Optimus, which is basically going to be a competitor to Figure. And then there's Nvidia, who's been showing off some pretty wild stuff with their Project GR00T using Apple Vision Pro headsets to help train AI robots through teleoperators. Oh, and don't forget Boston Dynamics. Those guys have been in the game for a while, and they're working on their own humanoid robot too, upgrading their Atlas model with electric motors to make it cheaper and more reliable. Now, another really interesting development in the world of AI and robotics is coming from a startup called Oxford Dynamics, based in Harwell, Oxfordshire. They're working on a robot called Strider, and this thing is specifically designed to venture into some of the most dangerous environments known to man. We're talking about places where chemical, biological, or even nuclear threats are present. Basically, situations where you really wouldn't want to send a human. Now, Oxford Dynamics isn't just playing around here. They've already landed a £1 million contract with the UK Ministry of Defence, MOD, to design, develop, and supply these robots. The idea is, instead of risking human lives, why not send in a machine that can handle the job? Mike Lawton, one of the directors at the company, is thinking big. He's talking about building hundreds, maybe even thousands of these Strider robots in the future, all with the goal of making the world a safer place. So what exactly can Strider do? Well, this robot is pretty versatile. It's got a long, multi-jointed arm that can take readings, collect samples, and retrieve contaminated objects. And it moves around on these tank-like treads, which means it's built to handle rough, unpredictable terrain. Think about how tough it would be for a human in a hazmat suit to navigate a place like that. Strider can do it without breaking a sweat. Well, if robots could sweat. The company started working on Strider in November, and they've got until September to deliver the finished product to the Defense Science and Technology Laboratory. They're hoping Strider can be used in scenarios like the 2018 Novichok attack in Salisbury, where dealing with contaminated objects was a serious challenge. This robot could swoop in, grab those dangerous items, and secure them in sealed containers, all while performing tasks that would be really difficult for humans. But Oxford Dynamics isn't stopping there. They're planning to integrate their AI software into Strider, and they're calling it AVIS, which stands for a Very Intelligent System. That sounds a bit like Jarvis from Iron Man. You're spot on. That's exactly what inspired them.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
Welcome home, son.
The possibilities here are endless. Shefali Sharma, one of the founders, even mentioned that this tech could be adapted for use in submarines or fighter jets in the future. For these guys, seeing this technology get into the hands of people who truly need it is the ultimate goal. Shefali said it would be a dream come true to see Strider out there making a real difference. And it's not just the startup that's excited. Ewan Davies from DEFRA, the UK Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, mentioned in a statement that it's great to see these concepts rapidly turning into a highly capable and flexible platform. So just like Figure is pushing the boundaries of what humanoid robots can do, Oxford Dynamics is showing us how AI and robotics can literally save lives by stepping into the most hazardous situations on Earth. It's a thrilling time for technology, and it's going to be fascinating to see how both of these projects evolve in the near future. So yeah, the competition is fierce, but with the kind of momentum Figure has, plus the backing of some of the biggest names in tech, they seem like they're in a really strong position to keep pushing forward. I can't wait to see what this Figure 02 is really capable of when it's fully revealed. All right, if you're interested in how AI and robotics are reshaping our world, make sure to stick around for more deep dives into the latest tech. If you've been feeling like your AI buddy's been acting a bit different lately, maybe quicker, sharper, and just a tad smarter, you're not alone. OpenAI has been sneaky, rolling out some major changes without a big announcement, but don't worry, I've got all the details you need to know right here. So let's talk about it. Last week, I started noticing that ChatGPT felt different. It was like the responses were more on point, faster, and just generally better. I wasn't the only one either. People all over social media were talking about how ChatGPT seemed to be upgraded. But here's the thing, OpenAI didn't say a word about it at first. It was all very hush-hush until they finally dropped a little bombshell on us. OpenAI took to X to casually mention that they'd slipped in a new version of their GPT-4o model into ChatGPT. So they just updated the model we've all been using without making a big deal about it. The message was simple. There's a new GPT-4o model out in ChatGPT since last week. Hope you all are enjoying it and check it out if you haven't. We think you'll like it. That's it. No fancy press release, no grand unveiling, just a tweet. Typical OpenAI, right? Now, if you're wondering what's so special about this new model, let's break it down. The updated version of GPT-4o, which they're calling ChatGPT 4o latest, is essentially a fine-tuned and optimized version of what we had before, but here's where it gets interesting. While OpenAI hasn't spilled all the beans, there's a lot of speculation about what this new model actually is. Some people out there are thinking this might be part of a bigger strategy by OpenAI to release different sized models, kind of like what Google and Anthropic are doing. There's been talk about a GPT-4o large, and some think this latest update could be a stepping stone in that direction. But I'm not totally sold on that idea because let's be real, if it were a brand new model, they probably would have hyped it up a lot more. So what can this new model do? Well, from what I've seen and what others have reported, it's performing better on tasks that require complex reasoning and creativity. Like, if you've been asking ChatGPT to help with coding or solve tricky problems, you might have noticed it's just a little bit sharper now. It's also faster, which is a nice bonus, but of course, it's not perfect. There are still some weird quirks. For example, in one test, the model was asked to stack a book, 9 eggs, a laptop, a bottle, and a nail in a stable manner. The solution? It suggested putting 9 eggs on top of a bottle. I mean, come on, who does that? And then when it was asked how many R's are in the word strawberry, it came back with 2, which is definitely wrong. So yeah, there are still some bugs to work out, but overall, the update is a step in the right direction. Now, talking about strawberry, let's talk about something that's been generating a lot of hype, Project Strawberry. The idea behind Project Strawberry is that it could be a new post-training method that boosts the model's reasoning skills. Some people are even saying that the improvements we're seeing in ChatGPT might be the first signs of this mysterious project in action. One of the coolest things about the new ChatGPT-4o latest model is how it handles multi-step reasoning. This basically means the AI isn't just jumping to conclusions, it's thinking things through, step by step, before it gives you an answer. That's a pretty big deal because it leads to more accurate and thoughtful responses, which is something we all want, right? The new model has already made waves in the AI community, especially in something called the LMSYS leaderboard. Now, if you're not familiar with it, the LMSYS leaderboard is like the Olympics for AI models. They put different models head to head in all sorts of tasks. And the new ChatGPT-4o latest model just crushed it. It scored a whopping 1314 points, which is the highest score ever recorded on that leaderboard. This means it's outperforming some of the biggest names in the game, like Google, Anthropic, and Meta. Now, if you're thinking, how do I get my hands on this new model? Well, it's super easy. OpenAI has already swapped out the old GPT-4o with the new version in both the ChatGPT website and app. So, all you have to do is fire up ChatGPT and you're good to go. If you're on the free plan, you might hit some message limits, but for those of you who are on the Plus plan, you can push the model to the limit and really see what it can do. But don't worry if you're not ready to shell out the $20 a month for the Plus plan. You can still get a good feel for the new model before you hit those limits, and then if you run out of messages, you can switch over to GPT-4o Mini. It's not quite the same, but it's still pretty powerful. Also, one more really interesting thing is how OpenAI has been testing these updates. They've been sneaking experimental models into places like the LMSY's chatbot arena under random names, so people don't even realize they're testing new tech. The ChatGPT-4o latest model, for example, was tested under the name Anonymous Chatbot, and it got over 11,000 votes from users. That's a lot of people unknowingly helping out with the testing, which just goes to show how clever OpenAI's approach is. So what's next? Well, if this update is anything to go by, we can expect OpenAI to keep refining and improving ChatGPT. They're clearly focused on making it better at reasoning, creativity, and all those tasks that require a bit more brain power. And who knows, maybe we'll see even more of Project Strawberry in the future. All right, now I also want to talk about a new AI model that just came out, but it didn't really get the attention it deserves. This model, called Falcon Mamba 7B, was released by the Technology Innovation Institute, TII, in Abu Dhabi. TII is known for working on cutting-edge technologies like AI, quantum computing, and robotics, and now they've dropped this new model. It's available on Hugging Face, and it's an open-source model, which is pretty cool, but what really sets it apart is the new architecture it's using. Most of us are familiar with transformer models, which have been dominating the AI scene for a while now, but Falcon Mamba 7B uses something different called the Mamba State Space Language Model, SLM architecture. This new approach is quickly becoming a solid alternative to those traditional transformer models. Now, why is this important? Well, transformers are great, but they have some issues, especially when it comes to handling longer pieces of text. You see, Transformers use an attention mechanism that looks at every word in a text and compares it to every other word to understand the context. But as the text gets longer, this process demands more and more computing power and memory. If you don't have the resources to keep up, the model slows down and struggles with longer texts. This is where SSLM comes in. Unlike Transformers, SSLM doesn't just rely on comparing words to each other. Instead, it continuously updates a state as it processes the text. This means it can handle much longer sequences of text without needing a ton of extra memory or computing power. Now, Falcon Mamba 7B uses this SSLM architecture, which was originally developed by researchers at Carnegie Mellon and Princeton universities. What's cool about this model is that it can dynamically adjust its parameters based on the input, so it knows when to focus on certain parts of the text and when to ignore others. So, how does Falcon Mamba 7B stack up against the big players like Meta's Llama 3.8b, Llama 3.18b, and Mistral 7b? TII ran some tests, and the results are pretty impressive. In terms of how much text the model can handle, Falcon Mamba 7B can fit larger sequences than the Transformer models using just a single 24 GB A10 GPU. This means it can theoretically handle infinite context length if you process the text token by token or in chunks. And again, Falcon Mamba 7B came out on top. It beat Mistral 7B's sliding window attention architecture by generating all tokens at a constant speed without any increase in memory usage. And that's a big deal for anyone working with large-scale AI tasks because it means the model is both fast and efficient. Even when it comes to standard industry benchmarks, Falcon Mamba 7B holds its own. In tests like ARC, Truthful QA, and GSM 8K, it outperformed or matched the top Transformer models. Sure, there were a couple of benchmarks like MMLU and HeliSwag where it didn't quite take the lead, but it was still right up there with the best of them. But here's the thing, this is just the beginning for Falcon Mamba 7B. Tichu has big plans to keep optimizing the model and expanding its capabilities. They're not just stopping at SSLM, they're also pushing the limits of Transformer models to keep driving innovation in AI. So if you're into AI or just curious about what the future holds, keep an eye on Falcon Mamba 7B. It's already making a name for itself, and with TII's continued efforts, it's only going to get better. Plus, with over 45 million downloads of their Falcon models, TII is proving that they're a major player in the AI world. Anthropic has just launched Claude 3.5 Sonnet, a new AI model that's being compared to OpenAI's GPT-4o in terms of performance. They've also introduced some exciting new features, making Claude 3.5 Sonnet more skilled at understanding humor, handling complex workflows, and interpreting charts and graphs. Alright, so what's the deal with Claude 3.5 Sonnet? Well, it's Anthropic's newest AI model, and it's already generating some pretty big hype in the AI world. But let's start with the basics. Claude 3.5 Sonnet is part of Anthropic's AI model lineup. They've got this whole naming system going on. Haiku for the smallest model, Sonnet for the middle one, and Opus for the top tier. It's a bit quirky, but hey, every AI company seems to have their own weird naming conventions these days. Now, Anthropic is claiming that Claude 3.5 Sonnet can go toe-to-toe with or even outperform some of the heavy hitters in the AI world. We're talking about models like OpenAI's GPT-4o and Google's Gemini 1.5. That's a pretty bold statement, right? Anthropic says that 3.5 Sonnet is actually better than their previous top model, Claude 3 Opus. And get this, it's apparently twice as fast. That's a huge deal when it comes to AI performance. Now, Anthropic has released some benchmark scores, and I've got to say they look pretty impressive. Claude 3.5 Sonnet outscored GPT-4o, Gemini 1.5 Pro, and even Meta's Llama 3400B in most of the benchmarks they tested. And this includes areas like graduate level reasoning, undergraduate level knowledge, and coding skills. But here's the thing. We always need to take these benchmark scores with a grain of salt. The AI world moves so fast that today's top performer could be old news tomorrow. Plus, companies can cherry pick the benchmarks that make them look good. So while these scores are definitely promising, we'll have to see how Claude 3.5 Sonnet performs in real-world applications. Speaking of real-world applications, let's talk about what this new model can actually do. According to Anthropic, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is much better at writing and translating code. It can handle complex multi-step workflows more efficiently. And here's a cool one. It's apparently way better at interpreting charts and graphs. But there's one improvement that I find particularly interesting. Anthropic says that this new Claude is better at understanding humor and can write in a more human-like way. Now that's something I'd love to see in action. an AI assistant that can actually get your jokes and make you laugh. Oh, and here's a neat little tidbit. Claude 3.5 Sonnet can apparently transcribe text from images more accurately. That could be super useful for all sorts of applications, from digitizing old documents to helping with visual accessibility. Now, let's talk about availability. If you're itching to try out Claude 3.5 Sonnet, you're in luck. It's already available for free on Claude.ai and the Claude iOS app. If you're a subscriber to Claude Pro or their team plans, you'll get higher usage limits. And for the developers out there, you can access it through Anthropic's API, Amazon Bedrock, and Google Cloud's Vertex AI. Also, Anthropic has set up a pretty affordable pricing model for this AI through Anthropic's API. It costs $3 per million input tokens and $15 per million output tokens. This basically means every time you feed information to the AI or get results back, you're using tokens, and these prices are quite competitive in the AI market. Another cool thing is the 200K token context window. This might sound technical, but it's actually really important. It means Claude can handle much larger chunks of information at once. So if you're working on a big project that involves a lot of data, Claude can process it all without getting overwhelmed. But Anthropic isn't just improving their AI model, they're also rolling out a new feature called Artifacts. And this is pretty cool, folks. Basically, it lets you see and interact with the results of your request to Claude right in the app. So, if you ask Claude to design something for you, you can now see what it looks like and even edit it right there. Think about it. If Claude writes an email for you, you can edit it directly in the Claude app instead of having to copy it to a text editor. It might seem like a small thing, but it's actually a really smart move. These AI tools need to evolve beyond just being chatbots. And features like Artifacts are a step in that direction. This Artifacts feature might be giving us a glimpse into Anthropic's long-term vision for Claude. They've always said they're mainly focused on businesses, even though they've been hiring some big names from the consumer tech world. In their press release, they talked about turning Claude into a tool for companies to securely centralize their knowledge, documents, and ongoing work in one shared space. That sounds less like a chatbot and more like a full-fledged productivity platform, doesn't it? We might be looking at something that could compete with tools like Notion or Slack, but with Anthropic's powerful AI models at the core. That's a pretty exciting prospect if you ask me. The pace of improvement in AI is just mind-blowing. Anthropic launched Claude 3 Opus in March, saying it was as good as GPT-4 and Gemini 1.0. Then OpenAI and Google released better versions of their models, and now just a few months later, Anthropic is back with Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Now I know Claude doesn't get as much attention as Gemini or ChatGPT, but make no mistake, it's very much in the race. And with improvements like these, it's definitely a contender to watch. Let's talk a bit more about some of the specific improvements in Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Anthropic did an internal evaluation of what they call agentic coding. Basically, they tested how well the AI could fix bugs or add new features to an open source code base when given a description of what needed to be done.
Here you're going to see Claude edit the function file to fix the bug, and now Claude's going to rerun those tests, and the tests are passing. So now if we rerun the function, look, our image no longer has that white background. Thanks, Claude.
Claude 3.5 Sonnet solved 64% of these problems, compared to only 38% for the previous model. That's a huge jump. Now, let's address safety and privacy because these are huge concerns when it comes to AI. Anthropic says they've put Claude 3.5 Sonnet through rigorous testing and trained it to reduce misuse. They've even brought in external experts to evaluate the model's safety, including the UK's Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute. They've also incorporated feedback from outside experts to make sure their safety evaluations are robust and up to date. For example, they worked with child safety experts from an organization called Thorn to update their classifiers and fine-tune their models. And here's some reassuring news for those concerned about data privacy. Anthropic says they don't train their generative models on user-submitted data unless the user explicitly gives them permission to do so. That's a pretty strong stance on privacy in a world where data is often seen as the new gold. So, what's on the horizon for Anthropic? They're not taking a break anytime soon. Later this year, they plan to roll out Claude 3.5 Haiku and Claude 3.5 Opus, completing the Claude 3.5 model family. They're also developing exciting new features, like one called Memory, which will enable Claude to remember user preferences and interaction history, making the AI experience more personalized and efficient. They're also exploring new modalities and features to support more use cases for businesses, including integrations with enterprise applications. It's clear that Anthropic is gunning for the business market in a big way. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one more thing I want to mention. Anthropic is really emphasizing their commitment to improving the trade-off between intelligence, speed, and cost. They're aiming to make substantial improvements in this area every few months. That's an ambitious goal, but if they can pull it off, it could really shake up the AI industry. It's an exciting time to be following these developments, and I can't wait to see what comes next. What do you think about Claude 3.5 Sonnet? Are you excited to try it and see how it compares to other AI models? Let me know in the comments below. So let's talk about robots, specifically humanoid robots powered by AI, and explore all the exciting developments that were showcased at the 2024 World Robot Conference in Beijing. And trust me, there is a lot to unpack from this event. We're talking game-changing innovations, cutting-edge technology, and the latest in AI advancements. So let's get into it. All right, so first, let's set the stage. The World Robot Conference is kind of a big deal in the tech world. Think of it as the Oscars for robotics. It takes place every year in Beijing, and it's where the latest and greatest in robotic technology is put on display. This year, the conference was bigger and better than ever, attracting 169 exhibitors from all over the globe, showing off more than 600 innovative products. And here's the kicker. There were a record-high 27 humanoid robots featured this year. Yeah, humanoid robots are becoming a major focal point in the robotics field, and the hype is real. So, why all the buzz around humanoid robots? Well, there's a growing interest in how AI can be integrated into robots that look and move like humans. These aren't standard robots that you might see in factories. These are androids designed to interact with us in a more natural, human-like way. The idea is that these robots could eventually perform tasks just like, or even better than, humans. And it's not just about replacing humans, it's about collaborating with us, especially in environments that are dangerous or require heavy labor. A great example from the conference is the Unitree G1. This is a two-legged humanoid robot standing about 1.3 meters tall and weighing around 35 kilograms. It's sleek, it looks futuristic, and it's packed with some pretty advanced tech. The Unitree G1 can move at a speed of 2 meters per second and has advanced 3-finger force control hands, which means it can handle objects delicately and precisely. It's also got a maximum knee joint torque of 120 Newton meters, so it's pretty strong for its size. What really sets the Unitree G1 apart is its Robot Unified Large Model, which is a fancy way of saying that it has a robust AI system that allows it to learn and refine its skills continuously. This model was launched this year, and it's already making waves. Priced at around 99,000 yuan, or about 13,874 US dollars, it's actually quite affordable considering its advanced capabilities. According to Huang Jiawei, the marketing director at Unitree, this robot isn't just designed to look impressive, it's built to be highly functional in a variety of practical applications. That's why it's already being adopted by numerous labs and companies. Now, at the conference, Shenzhen-based Ubitech Robotics showed off some of their robots that are currently deployed on automotive production lines. These robots aren't just for show, they are doing real work: intelligent transportation, quality inspection, and even handling chemicals. It's a big step forward for the large-scale application of humanoid robots in manufacturing. According to Greg G., the lead on Ubitech's humanoid robot motion control algorithm team, their robots currently operate at about 20% of human efficiency. Now that might not sound super impressive at first, but here's the thing. They expect to reach nearly 100% efficiency within the next 1 to 2 years. And remember, robots can work 24/7 without breaks. This means their overall efficiency could soon surpass that of human workers. The integration of AI models has accelerated the development of humanoid robots. As G mentioned, we're looking at a future where robots and humans are going to be working side by side more often, especially in environments that are risky or involve heavy-duty tasks. Essentially, robots that can help you with heavy lifting or perform tasks that are too dangerous for humans. That's the direction we're heading in, and it's pretty exciting. Another standout from the conference was the Tiangong, an embodied AI robot. Now, what do they mean by embodied AI? Simply put, it's AI with a physical form, an AI that doesn't just exist in the cloud or on a server somewhere, but is integrated into a robot that can interact with the physical world. The Tiangong was a big hit at the event because it showcased some pretty advanced capabilities. It could engage in conversations, respond to voice commands, and even grasp and place objects in designated spots. Xi Jinping, the team leader from the Beijing Embodied Artificial Intelligence Robotics Innovation Center, explained that embodied AI helps bridge the gap between the digital and physical worlds. Just think about it. An AI that can move around on its own and interact intelligently with its surroundings opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. Imagine heading to a concert and a humanoid robot guides you to your seat, fetches your favorite snack, or even helps you navigate through the crowd. That's the kind of future embodied AI is aiming for, and the Tiangong robot is a big step in making that vision a reality. Other impressive presentations at the 2024 World Robot Conference in Beijing included a Tencent's four-legged robot dog. Now, if you've ever seen a robot dog before, you might think, okay, big deal. But this one's on a whole different level. It doesn't just walk, it can run, jump, and even perform backward somersaults. It's super agile and could go places a human or even a regular robot couldn't reach. Then we got Alibaba's new logistics robot. Now, logistics might not sound super exciting at first, but this robot is designed for last mile delivery, which is a huge challenge in the e-commerce world. It's like your own little autonomous delivery guy that can navigate complex urban environments without any human intervention. Then, there was a robot that totally captivated the audience. A robot that can play the Chinese dulcimer. And not just playing like a simple tune, it learned to play this complex instrument in just 2 to 3 days, which is insane. This kind of skill acquisition shows just how far AI learning has come. Next up, we've got a robot that really blurs the lines between human and machine. A humanoid robot that mimics human facial expressions in real time. It's designed to look like a young man and can perfectly replicate its partner's facial expressions. Now, we can't forget about the medical sector. There were several presentations featuring advanced medical robots that are designed for surgical precision. Using AI to assist with surgeries can greatly reduce the margin for human error and improve outcomes for patients. Agriculture also got some love at the conference with robots designed for the field, literally. These agricultural robots are capable of tasks like planting, weeding, and harvesting, which could majorly cut down labor costs and boost efficiency on farms. We're talking about robots that could help address food security by optimizing farming processes. Now, this next one's pretty interesting. Wison Technology showed off their innovative, pliable robotic arms. Instead of the usual motors, these arms use 3D printed plastics and pneumatic artificial muscles, making them way cheaper to produce, like 1/10 the cost of traditional robotic arms. This could make high-quality robotic tech accessible to a lot more industries. And then there's the Walker S Lite robot from UB Tech Robotics. This one's an industrial humanoid robot that's already at work in car factories. It's helping with everything from quality testing to sorting parts, working right alongside human workers to improve efficiency on the production line. And lastly, we saw the debut of the Robot Blue Book, an extensive report that dives deep into the Chinese robotics industry and its potential. It's kind of like a roadmap for the future of robotics, outlining development trends and opportunities. For anyone interested in the business side of robotics, this is a must-read. Now, while there are some incredible advancements, there are still challenges to overcome in the robotics industry. For instance, at the conference, Yi Gang, founder of Shanghai-based T5 Robot, highlighted some of the problems in the current robotics supply chain. Product reliability is actually one of the biggest issues. Due to high defect rates, companies like his can only produce up to 1,000 units at a time. And let's not forget about the key components like harmonic gears, which are crucial for motion control in robots but still face quality and reliability issues. Also, Wison Technology, another player in the robotics field, is doing something pretty unique. They're using 3D printed plastics and pneumatic artificial muscles instead of the traditional motors and reducers for their robotic arms. This makes their robots much cheaper to produce, about 1/10 the cost of traditional robotic arms, which could be a game changer for affordability in the industry. According to Chao Wei from Lanchi Ventures, who has invested in Wison, these pliable robotic arms could potentially be used in humanoid robots in the future. But in any case, China is pushing hard to become a global leader in this field. As mentioned by Marina Bill, president of the International Federation of Robotics, China's manufacturing capabilities and supply chain strength are really tough to match, even for some of the most developed countries. There's also a big focus on developing new productive forces in technology. As Premier Li Qiang highlighted, the robot industry has broad prospects and massive market potential. The government is calling for efforts to promote the expansion and popularization of robots across various fields: industry, agriculture, and even services. Essentially, AI has ushered in the iPhone moment for humanoid robots. Think about it. Just like the iPhone revolutionized the smartphone industry, AI is set to revolutionize robotics. We're getting closer than ever to making the dream of fully integrated humanoid robots a reality. The plan is to establish a production capacity of over 10,000 embodied AI robots by the end of 2026, according to Kong Lei from the Beijing Economic Technological Development Area Administrative Committee. That's a pretty ambitious goal, but given the rapid pace of development we're seeing, it seems totally possible. So, you know how Google's been kind of struggling in the AI world lately, right? I mean, they had some pretty rough moments, like that one time their Bard chatbot gave wrong info about the James Webb Space Telescope during its first big demo. That little mess up cost Google's parent company, Alphabet, a casual $100 billion in market value. Yeah, that hurt. And don't even get me started on their Gemini image generation tool. People were tearing it apart for historical inaccuracies and some bias issues, so Google had to pull the plug on that one really quick. With all that, it seemed like Google was falling way behind OpenAI and Microsoft, who've been absolutely killing it with their AI stuff, especially with GPT-4o and all the AI integration Microsoft's been doing. It was almost like Google was this giant who was stumbling, trying to keep up in a race it used to dominate. But here's the plot twist. Google just pulled off a major comeback, and it's got everyone in the AI world buzzing. They've been steadily improving their AI game, and now they've rolled out some impressive upgrades. Earlier this year, they introduced Gemini 1.5 Pro, which really shook things up, and now they're back at it with a new version. We're talking about the experimental version 0801 of Gemini 1.5 Pro, which is now available for early testing and feedback through Google AI Studio and the Gemini API. The LMSYS Chatbot Arena is a popular benchmark that tests AI models on various tasks and gives them an overall competency score. In a recent evaluation, GPT-4 got a score of 1,286, and Claude 3 wasn't far behind with 1,271. Interestingly, an experimental version of Google's Gemini model called Gemini 1.5 Pro 0801 scored an impressive 1,300. This surpasses even the scores of its well-known competitors. For context, an earlier version of Gemini 1.5 Pro scored 1,261. While this suggests Gemini might be more capable overall, it's important to remember that benchmarks don't tell the whole story about an AI model's strengths and weaknesses. The AI community is buzzing with excitement about this latest Gemini version. Social media is flooded with users praising it as insanely good, with some even claiming it blows GPT-4 out of the water. So yeah, Google's definitely back in the game with this one. This release marks a turning point where users now have a variety of strong AI chatbot options. Ultimately, the best model for a user will depend on their specific needs and preferences. It remains to be seen if this experimental version of Gemini will become the standard. Although it's currently available to the public, its early release status means it could be modified or even taken down in the future for safety or alignment reasons. So, it's safe to say that Gemini 1.5 Pro is a top contender in the world of AI models. One of its most impressive features is its ability to handle massive amounts of data, like processing up to 1 million tokens. Now, the other model they launched, Gemma 2.2b, is kind of a game changer too. It's got 2 billion parameters, which might sound small compared to some other models out there, but this thing punches way above its weight class. It's actually outperformed models that are way bigger, like OpenAI's GPT 3.5 and even Meta's Llama 2. Google's basically showing everyone that bigger isn't always better in the AI world. It's all about how you optimize and tweak what you've got. Now, while Google is making strides with their AI models, not everything they touch turns to gold. Case in point, the Dear Sydney ad fiasco. So, Google had this ad running during the Olympics on NBC, where a dad uses the Gemini AI to help his daughter write a fan letter to her hero, Olympic track star Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Sounds harmless, right? Well, not exactly. In the ad, the dad asks Gemini to help his daughter write this heartfelt letter, and the AI goes ahead and does it. But here's where things get weird. The whole premise of using AI to write something as personal as a fan letter didn't sit well with a lot of people. Critics were quick to call it out as tone-deaf and just plain bizarre. I mean, who wants an AI-written fan letter? It's supposed to be personal, right? Something that comes from the heart, not a machine. The backlash was almost immediate. People were all over social media roasting the ad for being out of touch. Linda Holmes, a novelist and podcast host, pretty much summed up the sentiment by saying, "Who wants an AI-written fan letter?" And honestly, she's got a point. The ad came off as a bit of a misfire, like Google was trying too hard to show off their AI's capabilities without really thinking about whether it made sense in this context. So, how did Google respond? Well, they decided to pull the ad from their Olympics rotation. They said the ad tested well before it aired, but after hearing the feedback, they thought it was best to phase it out. However, they didn't completely abandon the idea. They defended it by saying their goal was to show how AI can enhance creativity, not replace it. They wanted to create an authentic story celebrating Team USA, and in their minds, the Gemini AI was just supposed to be a tool to help get the creative juices flowing, not do all the work. But even with that explanation, the damage was kind of done. The whole situation just highlighted the fine line tech companies have to walk when it comes to integrating AI into everyday life. Sure, AI can be an amazing tool, but there are some areas, like personal expression, where people might not be so keen on letting a machine take over. Not everything is great for OpenAI either. Despite attracting significant investments, exceeding $11.3 billion since 2015 from big players like Microsoft and Sequoia, OpenAI is facing a financial tightrope walk. A recent report suggests they're on track to spend a staggering $8.5 billion this year alone, raising concerns about their long-term sustainability and even sparking whispers of potential bankruptcy. Now, what's driving these massive costs? Running cutting-edge AI models like ChatGPT doesn't come cheap. OpenAI is projected to shell out around $7 billion just to keep these models up and running. A significant chunk of this, approximately $4 billion, is dedicated to renting server capacity from Microsoft, highlighting the immense computational power required for their AI operations. An additional $3 billion is earmarked for training their AI models, including licensing agreements with news organizations like News Corp to access and learn from their vast content libraries. And let's not forget about their 1,500 employees. Their salaries are estimated to reach $1.5 billion this year, while OpenAI is generating revenue projected to fall between $3.5 billion and $4.5 billion this year, primarily from ChatGPT and other paid AI services. It's not enough to offset their massive expenditures. This puts them on track for a potential loss of at least $5 billion for the year. To put this into perspective, Google-backed Anthropic, a competitor, expects to burn through $2.7 billion this year. This situation has ignited concerns about OpenAI's future. Some experts are even questioning the viability of their business model, particularly with the emergence of free and open source AI models like Meta's Llama 3.1. This model, which allows developers free access to its code, could potentially undercut OpenAI's paid offerings, especially as some businesses are already hesitant about AI's cost and accuracy. This isn't the first time OpenAI's financial stability has been questioned. Last year, reports of ChatGPT's high-running costs, nearly $700,000 per day, sparked similar concerns. However, OpenAI's strong backing from giants like Microsoft with a $13 billion investment offers some reassurance. Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, has emphasized that their investment secures them significant rights to OpenAI's technology, ensuring continuity even if OpenAI were to face difficulties. Despite these financial challenges, OpenAI remains committed to pushing the boundaries of AI. They continue to release new products, including the AI-powered video generator Sora and the AI search engine SearchGPT, which even caused a dip in Google's stock price. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman remains steadfast in his ambition to achieve artificial general intelligence, AGI, even if it means spending billions. He envisions AGI as highly autonomous systems that surpass human capabilities in most economically valuable tasks. In essence, OpenAI is engaged in a high-stakes gamble. They are pouring immense resources into developing groundbreaking AI, even if it means operating at a significant loss. Whether their bet pays off with the dawn of AGI or leads to financial difficulties remains to be seen. One thing is certain: the world is watching OpenAI's every move with bated breath. In this video, we will be talking about one of the most incredible breakthroughs at the intersection of neuroscience and artificial intelligence. Researchers from Harvard University and Google DeepMind have achieved something really astonishing. They've created an artificial brain for a virtual rat that can control the rat's movements in an ultra-realistic physics simulation. This groundbreaking work, which was published in the prestigious journal Nature, opens up huge new possibilities for understanding how real brains work and how they control complex behaviors. It could also lead to more advanced and adaptive robots in the future. So let's break down exactly what this Harvard DeepMind team has accomplished and why it's such a game-changing achievement. All right, so the first monumental task was constructing an accurate biomechanical model of a rat's body in a sophisticated physics simulator called Mujoko. This virtual rat had to obey the laws of physics, with factors like gravity, friction, and the musculoskeletal mechanics of a real rodent's body coming into play. The researchers drew from a vast data set of high-resolution motion data recorded from real rats engaging in all kinds of natural behaviors and movements. This gave them an incredibly rich source of information to build and validate their virtual rodent model. But having an anatomically accurate rat body was just the first step. The team then had to create an artificial neural network that could learn to control this virtual body's biomechanics and replicate the diversity of movements seen in the biological data. This is where Google DeepMind's expertise in machine learning came into play in a huge way. The DeepMind researchers collaborated closely with Harvard to apply advanced deep reinforcement learning techniques to train the artificial neural network, which would serve as the virtual rat's brain. Specifically, they used an approach called inverse dynamics modeling, which is how our own brains are theorized to control complex movement. When you reach for a glass, your brain doesn't manually move each muscle. Instead, it rapidly calculates the desired trajectory and translates that into the required forces and torques to make it happen smoothly. The virtual rat's neural network was fed reference motion trajectories from the real rat data as inputs. Through deep reinforcement learning, it learned to output the precise pattern of forces that could actuate the virtual body's joints and musculature to successfully recreate those trajectories in the physics simulation. What makes this even more remarkable is that the neural network could generalize what it learned to produce realistic rat behaviors and movement sequences that it was never explicitly trained on. Just like a biological brain, it exhibited broad generalization capabilities. Now, with this virtual rat brain successfully controlling the biomechanical model, the researchers could then probe the activations and dynamics within the neural network to gain insights into how real rat brains might control movement. Stunningly, they found that the patterns of neural activity in the virtual brain lined up incredibly well with neural recordings made from motor cortex and other brain regions in behaving rats. This suggests the deep learning algorithm discovered internal models and motor control principles similar to those employed by biological brains. One of the key properties the virtual brain exhibited was the ability to spontaneously transition between different operational regimes based on context, closely mirroring how rodent brain dynamics are observed to switch between distinct patterns for different behaviors like grooming, running, or rearing. The researchers could also analyze how the network dealt with redundancy. Since there are typically multiple ways to achieve a given movement trajectory, how did it choose the optimal solution? The virtual brain appeared to implement a minimal intervention strategy to make only the minute corrections needed, avoiding unnecessary expenditure of energy or forces. Now, this aligns with theories of optimal feedback control that neuroscientists believe biological motor systems evolved to implement. The virtual rat's brain was discovering these principles from scratch, simply by trying to generate naturalistic movement. Another powerful insight came from analyzing how variability or noise in the neural activations mapped to variability in the virtual rat's kinematics and dynamics. There were clearly structured patterns in how neural fluctuations cause specific types of movement deviations. This kind of variability signature is essentially invisible from just looking at the overall movements, but a window into it could shed light on the neural coding strategies used by the brain. Having a fully observable and controllable virtual system made these insights possible. All right, now, while there's still much more to explore, it's clear this virtual rat brain has opened up a new paradigm for investigating motor control and broader brain function that was simply intractable before. Rather than being limited to just recording neural signals during behavior, neuroscientists can now probe and perturb an accessible model of the entire brain-body environment control loop in simulation. It's a new frontier of what some have dubbed virtual neuroscience. This virtual rat platform provides a convenient sandbox for testing theories about how neural circuits implement specific computational processes like state estimation, predictive modeling, optimizing costs and rewards, and orchestrating coordinated patterns of movement. Even more powerfully, it allows constructing simulated neural networks with arbitrary architecture, connectivity patterns, neuron properties, and learning rules, then seeing how they give rise to emergent dynamics and behavioral capabilities. It's an unprecedentedly transparent window into the neural mechanisms behind both overt actions and the covert cognitive processes supporting them. Perfectly controlled experiments and causal manipulations become possible in a way that's vastly more difficult with biological specimens alone. There are also exciting opportunities to use these kinds of virtual brain-body models to simulate neurological conditions or injuries by introducing targeted perturbations or lesions. It could provide a powerful new way to gain insights into brain disorders and test putative therapies or neural prosthetics in silico before animal trials. And then, even if we go beyond the neuroscientific implications, this advancement also has immense potential for revolutionizing robotic control by reverse engineering how biological intelligence emerges from distributed neural dynamics. While classical control theory has given us robots that can perform specific pre-programmed routines, modern AI and deep learning has already shown an ability to generalize and respond to open-ended real-world environments in more flexible, intelligent ways. However, most existing robots are still incredibly clumsy and inefficient compared to even a simple animal nervous system's ability to coordinate dexterous movement using distributed sensor motor control loops deeply entangled with the physics of their embodiment. By studying how the virtual rat brain coordinates its virtual biomechanics, roboticists may be able to abstract out the core principles and neural architectures responsible for this biological intelligence and port them into new robotic platforms. We could see robots that dynamically adapt their control strategies in response to their environments, develop realistic general movement skills, optimize force and energy expenditure like animals do, maintain robust operation despite sensor or mechanical failures, and ultimately become far more versatile and capable autonomous systems. All right, now I want to talk about nuclear fusion, which is a hot topic lately. And while you might be wondering what nuclear fusion simulation has to do with any of this neuroscience stuff, well, while it may seem unrelated on the surface, there are deep connections in terms of the tools and approaches being used. As part of their work on studying massively complex scientific phenomena, the researchers at Google DeepMind have developed Thorax, an open-source differentiable tokamak core transport simulator implemented using advanced machine learning frameworks like JAX. Thorax can simulate the flow of particles, heat, and electrical currents inside the core of an experimental nuclear fusion reactor, which is an extraordinarily complex coupled system of nonlinear differential equations describing magnetohydrodynamic plasma physics. Like the virtual rat brain work, a key innovation in Thorax is its tight integration with powerful machine learning techniques to solve these kinds of incredibly high-dimensional physical modeling challenges. Specifically, Thorax leverages JAX to enable just-in-time compilation for lightning-fast compute times, as well as automatic differentiation to be able to compute gradients of the entire plasma simulation pipeline. This allows using gradient-based optimization methods to calibrate the parameters and couple data-driven machine learning surrogate models, like neural networks trained on gyrokinetic turbulence simulations into the core physical calculations. So in essence, Thorax combines high-fidelity physics modeling with state-of-the-art machine learning in a differentiable programming framework, an approach very similar in spirit to what enabled the virtual rat brain breakthrough. Both are exemplars of a powerful new paradigm for tackling the mind-bogglingly intricate problems in computational neuroscience, biophysics, plasma physics, and many other domains of complex systems analysis. In fields like materials science and chemistry, we could virtually prototype new materials by simulating their atomic and molecular dynamics using physics-constrained machine learning models. This would speed up the design and discovery of novel compounds with customized properties for things like energy storage, catalysis, and quantum computing. Similarly, for aerospace engineering, virtual models with AI could drive breakthroughs by optimizing aircraft and propulsion system designs through realistic simulations of aerodynamics and turbulent fluid flows combined with learned surrogate models. The possibilities even extend to fundamental physics. Projects like the virtual muon experiments at Fermilab are using differentiable simulation and AI to analyze massive particle collision data, enabling new insights into the nature of matter and forces at the subatomic scale. As these virtual modeling capabilities improve, we might even be able to create digital twins or simulations of entire cities, societies, economies, and ecosystems, essentially massive multiplayer simulations to play out scenarios and policies policies before the real thing, straight out of sci-fi. Of course, as these virtual world simulations become hyper-realistic, they raise profound ethical questions about preventing self-awareness or existential risks. Like, what are the implications of virtually replicating conscious minds? Deep issues we'll need to tackle. But there's no doubt that the rise of virtual modeling and AI-accelerated simulation is a pivotal shift for understanding and engineering complex systems across science, technology, and even social systems. A new age driven by cutting-edge simulations and AI. AGI might be closer than we think with OpenAI's new model, Strawberry, and they've already tested it, and let's just say it's a bit terrifying. Launching this fall, Strawberry could blow past the limits of current AI, handling tasks that were previously thought impossible. This model is packed with next-level capabilities, from solving complex problems to enhancing existing AI tools like ChatGPT. So let's get into it. Alright, Strawberry is the code name for OpenAI's new AI model, which they plan to launch this fall. According to various reports, Strawberry is being designed to perform tasks that current AI models struggle with or simply can't do at all. Think of things like solving complex math problems it's never encountered before, developing detailed marketing strategies, or even tackling advanced word puzzles. For example, Strawberry has reportedly been able to solve the New York Times connections puzzle, which is no small feat for an AI, but Strawberry's abilities are far more serious than puzzles and math problems. The model is set to dramatically improve reasoning capabilities, allowing it to perform in-depth research, generate high-quality synthetic data, and potentially revolutionize fields that rely heavily on data analysis and strategic planning. OpenAI has even demonstrated Strawberry's capabilities to US national security officials, showing just how seriously they're taking this new development. The potential applications for Strawberry are vast, spanning from business strategy and supply chain management to research and security. Now, the name Strawberry might sound a bit lighthearted, but the backstory is quite the opposite. Originally, this model was known as Q**, pronounced Q* within OpenAI. This wasn't just a name change for branding purposes, it came at a time of significant upheaval at OpenAI. The internal development and potential implications of Q* led to some intense discussions within the company, even contributing to a temporary ouster of CEO Sam Altman. Altman was eventually reinstated, but the incident highlights the kind of pressure and scrutiny this model has been under from the very beginning. The concerns around Q* and now Strawberry stem from its potential to be a significant step toward AGI, artificial general intelligence. AGI represents the kind of AI that can understand, learn, and apply knowledge across an array of tasks, much like a human. The tech community has been cautious about AGI because of the possible risks it poses. Advanced AI that can operate with a high degree of autonomy might present challenges, such as aligning its objectives with human values and ensuring it doesn't lead to unintended consequences. There's a lot of excitement, but also a fair amount of caution. Now, let's get into some of the technical details, because this is where Strawberry really stands out. The model is reported to have scored over 90% on the math benchmark, a series of championship-level math problems. To give you some context, GPT-4, another well-known model from OpenAI, only scored 53%, while GPT-4o, an improved version, managed to reach 76.6%. If Strawberry truly hits the 90% mark, it's not just a minor upgrade, it's a quantum leap in terms of AI capabilities. The model also shows advanced reasoning and planning skills, making it more versatile than its predecessors. It's capable of generating synthetic data, which means it can create its own training material to continually improve its performance. This ability to self-generate data is groundbreaking. It reduces the need for massive amounts of real-world data to train AI models, which is a huge advantage considering the challenges and limitations associated with data privacy, quality, and availability. Moreover, Strawberry will likely be integrated into products like ChatGPT, enhancing its capabilities with advanced reasoning. This would allow ChatGPT to engage in conversation, solve complex problems, plan strategies, and assist with real-time research, making it a more versatile AI assistant. But that's just the beginning for OpenAI's plans with Strawberry. This model is also playing a crucial role in training a new AI system codenamed Orion. Rumored to be the next step beyond GPT-4 and GPT-4o, Orion could potentially become the highly anticipated GPT-5. With Strawberry laying the groundwork for Orion's training data, it's clear that OpenAI isn't settling for minor upgrades. They're gearing up for a major breakthrough in AI capabilities. The approach they're using involves something akin to a technique called STAR, self-taught reasoner, which was proposed by researchers at Stanford. This method involves training AI models to reason more effectively by generating explanations for their answers, filtering out incorrect ones, and then fine-tuning the model based on these self-generated explanations. This kind of self-improving AI could be a crucial step toward AGI, where the AI isn't just reactive, but proactively improves its understanding and reasoning abilities over time. However, as exciting as Strawberry's potential is, there are legitimate concerns about AI safety, particularly as AI models become more advanced. OpenAI has been no stranger to these concerns. In fact, there's been quite a bit of internal turmoil regarding AI safety at the company. Reports indicate that nearly half of OpenAI's safety team has left, dropping from about 30 members to just 16. Daniel Kokotajlo, a former researcher, mentioned that people focused on AGI safety felt increasingly marginalized within the company. This has raised some eyebrows in the tech community, especially given the potential risks associated with developing highly advanced AI models like Strawberry. Several high-profile departures have further fueled these concerns. John Schulman, co-founder and head of OpenAI's alignment science efforts, recently left to join Anthropic, a company specifically focused on AI safety. Ilya Sutskever, another co-founder and chief scientist, also left OpenAI earlier this year to start his own company, Safe Superintelligence Inc. Both Schulman and Sutskever were key figures in OpenAI's safety efforts, so their departures suggest a significant shift in focus for the company. While OpenAI insists it remains committed to AI safety and is actively engaging with governments and communities on these issues, the exodus of key safety personnel could indicate a pivot toward more aggressive development and deployment of new technologies. Despite the internal challenges, OpenAI has been rolling out some impressive new features and models. Earlier this year, they introduced an advanced voice feature for ChatGPT using the GPT-4 model, which allows for hyper-realistic audio responses and real-time interactive conversations where users can even interrupt ChatGPT mid-sentence. It's a small change that could have big implications, making AI interactions feel more natural and engaging. They also launched a new tool called SearchGPT, which is currently in prototype mode. SearchGPT aims to provide more concise and relevant search results than traditional search engines by offering summarized answers with source links instead of just a list of links. And for those looking for a more affordable AI solution, OpenAI rolled out GPT-4o Mini, a smaller and more cost-effective version of their AI model. GPT-4o Mini surpasses GPT 3.5 Turbo in performance across various benchmarks, including textual intelligence and multimodal reasoning. It's a smart move to cater to a broader audience, from developers to businesses, while still pushing the envelope on what AI can do. Looking ahead, the introduction of Strawberry could mark a pivotal moment not just for OpenAI, but for the entire AI landscape. Its capabilities to handle complex tasks, generate its own training data, and potentially integrate into existing tools like ChatGPT could redefine what's possible with AI. This isn't just about making chatbots smarter. It's about creating AI that can think, reason, and learn in ways that are increasingly human-like. However, with these advancements come significant challenges. The debate around AGI, the balance between innovation and safety, and the need for responsible AI development are more pressing than ever. OpenAI will need to carefully navigate these waters, ensuring that their drive for innovation does not overshadow the importance of safety and ethical considerations. Competitors like Google DeepMind are also making rapid advancements, with models like AlphaProof and AlphaGeometry 2 already showing impressive results in mathematical reasoning. Also, Google just announced the release of 3 new experimental AI models. The first model, Gemini 1.5 Flash 8b, is a compact but powerful AI with 8 billion parameters, designed for handling multimodal tasks. It's particularly good at processing large volumes of data quickly and summarizing long documents, making it a strong choice for businesses needing fast and efficient AI solutions. Next up is the enhanced Gemini 1.5 Pro model, which improves on its predecessor in every way. This model shines at managing complex prompts and coding tasks, offering a significant boost in performance. It's perfect for developers and companies focused on creating advanced AI applications that need a nuanced understanding of language. Finally, there's the updated Gemini 1.5 Flash model. While details are scarce, Google reports notable performance gains, emphasizing speed and efficiency, critical for scaling AI solutions without sacrificing quality. These models are now available through Google AI Studio and the Gemini API, offering new possibilities for developers. They are ideal for tasks like high-volume data processing, long context summarization, and advanced coding. The competition is fierce, and OpenAI will need to stay ahead not just in terms of capabilities, but also in maintaining trust and ensuring the safety of their AI models. Okay, so remember when we talked about the Figure 02 robot a few days ago? At that point, it was just the initial hype and we only knew a few specs. But now that we have the full details, this thing is actually insane. This robot represents a legitimate breakthrough in humanoid robots. And if that wasn't crazy enough, there's a new AI robot dentist that just performed fully autonomous dental surgery on a live patient without any human help. It's wild to think about. These developments are super exciting, so let me break down why they're such a big deal. All right, first off, let's talk about the design. Figure 02 looks like it means business. If you remember Figure 01, it had this kind of bulky chrome metal look, almost like it was wearing a suit of armor. That was cool and all, but the new model has gone for a sleeker, matte black finish that makes it look more like a high-end sports car than a medieval knight. The reason behind this is that Figure 01 was designed to withstand endless hours of testing in the lab, so it had to be over-engineered to handle the wear and tear. But now that Figure 02 is closer to a production model, they've refined everything, making it look and move more like something you'd actually see working on a production line. One of the big changes they made is with the cabling. In Figure 01, the wires were pretty much all over the place, purposefully exposed for easy fixes and adjustments during testing. But with Figure 02, everything is tucked away inside the limbs. Not only does this make it look cleaner, but it also protects the cables from the environment, which is crucial if you're going to have these robots working long shifts in a factory setting. And speaking of working long hours, the battery on this thing has been seriously upgraded. Figure 02 now has a battery that gives it over 50% more energy compared to the first model. The battery is integrated into the robot's torso, which is a smart move because it brings the center of mass closer to the middle of the robot's body. This design tweak makes Figure 02 more balanced and nimble, so it can move around more efficiently while carrying out tasks. Now let's get into the tech that really makes this robot stand out. First, the hands. Figure 02 has hands with 16 degrees of freedom, meaning it can move its fingers and wrist in a way that's almost as flexible as a human hand. And these hands aren't just for show, they've got some serious strength. The robot can carry up to 25 kilograms, which is about 55 pounds. That's a pretty big jump from Figure 01, which could only handle 20 kilograms. The goal here is for the robot to manipulate objects just like a human would, and they're getting pretty close to that. But it's not just about strength, it's also about smarts. Figure 02 is equipped with 6 onboard cameras that give it a full view of its surroundings. These cameras feed into a vision language model that helps the robot make sense of what it's seeing. So whether it's picking up objects, avoiding obstacles, or just navigating its environment, Figure 02 can do it all on its own. This is a massive leap forward in terms of autonomy, and it's made possible by a partnership with OpenAI. And speaking of OpenAI, one of the coolest features of Figure 02 is its ability to understand and respond to voice commands. You might remember seeing some videos of this from earlier in the year where the robot was interacting with humans through speech.
Hey, Figure 1, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Well, they've taken that to the next level. The new model has 3 times the computation power and AI inference capabilities compared to Figure 01. This means it can process information and carry out tasks much faster and more efficiently. This voice interaction isn't just for simple commands either. Figure 02 can actually hold conversations thanks to onboard microphones and speakers that are connected to custom AI models developed with OpenAI. So you can literally talk to this robot like you would with a coworker, and it'll understand what you're saying and respond accordingly.
Where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
It's like having a conversation with ChatGPT, but instead of just text, you've got a full-on humanoid robot standing in front of you ready to get to work. Now, the real kicker here is that this isn't just some lab prototype anymore. Figure AI has partnered with BMW, and they've already deployed these robots in a plant in South Carolina. They've been running tests to see how well the robot can handle tasks in a real industrial environment, and the results are looking pretty promising. This isn't just some flashy tech demo. This robot is actually out there, learning and performing tasks in a factory setting. Figure AI is clearly pushing hard to make humanoid robots a reality in the next few years. They've raised a whopping $675 million to keep the momentum going, and they're not slowing down anytime soon. With competitors like Tesla's Optimus and Boston Dynamics' Atlas also in the mix, we're on the brink of seeing these robots move from the lab to the production floor on a large scale. So if you thought humanoid robots were still a thing of the future, think again. And keep an eye on this one because it's only going to get more interesting from here. All right, now check this out. Something absolutely groundbreaking just went down in the world of AI and robotics. For the first time ever, a robot has performed fully autonomous surgery on a live patient. We've now got a robot dentist that can handle certain dental procedures all by itself. No human intervention needed. This is huge, and it could completely transform how we think about healthcare and AI. Imagine lower costs, no more waiting times since we can basically make as many of these robots as we need, and eventually, maybe even better service than what we're used to. And who knows, we might even see a day when we have our own personal dentist AI robot at home. I know it sounds wild, but with this breakthrough, it's not that far-fetched anymore. The company behind this innovation is called Perceptive, and they've been working on this for a while. What they've created is essentially a robot that combines AI, 3D imaging, and robotics to perform dental procedures like placing crowns. Now, normally, getting a crown would take 2 separate visits to the dentist, with each visit lasting at least an hour. But with Perceptive's robot, that whole process can be done in just 15 minutes. Imagine the time and stress that could save. Here's how it works. The robot uses something called a 3D volumetric data procedure to diagnose the issue and plan the treatment. It starts with an OCT scan, optical coherence technology, using a handheld intraoral scanner developed by Perceptive. This scan is super detailed, capturing 3D images that go beneath the gum line, through fluids, and even under the surface of the tooth. What's really cool is that this whole process doesn't expose the patient to any of the ionizing radiation you'd usually get from traditional X-rays. The robot doesn't just stop at scanning. Perceptive's AI algorithms take that 3D data and translate it into a precise plan for the surgery. The result? A robot that can diagnose and treat dental issues with an accuracy rate of over 90%. That's not only super efficient, but it also cuts down on the chances of human error. Plus, the detailed images from the scan help patients actually see and understand what's going on with their teeth, which is a nice bonus. Now, the real question is this all just a pipe dream, or could we actually see it in action anytime soon? Well, the truth is it's going to take some time. Perceptive's robot has already performed a fully autonomous dental procedure on a patient in Colombia, but it's not ready for widespread use just yet. The system still needs to get approval from the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, before it can be rolled out on a larger scale. According to Perceptive's CEO, Chris Ciriello, we're probably looking at about 5 years before they can get that FDA green light. But the potential here is huge. Perceptive has already raised $30 million in funding with some pretty big names getting behind it, like Mark Zuckerberg's dad, Dr. Edward Zuckerberg. He's a dentist himself and has been a vocal supporter of this technology. Dr. Zuckerberg has even pointed out that the robot is designed to operate safely, even if the patient moves around during the procedure, which is a major concern when you're dealing with something as precise as dental surgery. Now, if Perceptive's robot gets FDA approval, we could be looking at a new era of dental care, one where robots handle routine procedures quickly, efficiently, and with minimal human involvement. That could free up dentists to focus on more complex cases and allow them to see more patients in less time, ultimately improving the quality of care. Of course, Perceptive needs to release peer-reviewed studies to prove that their robot is as safe and effective as they claim. And then there's the whole issue of public perception. Are people ready to trust a robot with something as personal as their dental care? I don't know, but I would. And whether you find it exciting or a little bit scary, it's hard to deny that the future of healthcare is going to look a lot different and a lot more robotic than what we're used to. There are some exciting news from Google, but there's also a bit of controversy to unpack. So let's just get started. Google just announced a massive update with their video generation model called Veo. This model is part of their DeepMind project, and now it can create video clips from a single reference image. Essentially, you give it a picture and some text instructions, and it can generate a whole video clip based on that. For example, they showed off an image prompt where a woman's hands are holding a large amethyst crystal. Her nails are painted purple, and she has a gold ring on her pinky finger. The new model took that and generated a video clip that looks just like the original style, but animated. As you can see, there's no loss in quality, no glitches or anything like that. It's incredibly realistic, maybe even a bit too realistic. Another example was an elderly woman wearing a straw hat and a pink jacket sitting next to a brown and white dog. Both are looking off into the distance with serene expressions. The text prompt for the video was, "A woman gazes lovingly at her loyal dog." It's pretty amazing how it captures the essence and details from just a single image. Now, they also introduced Video FX Update, which now allows developers to create full HD videos from text prompts using Veo. So, whether you're an artist, content creator, or developer, this tool could actually change the basics of how you produce video content. Google has also introduced a new Gemini AI button in the side panel of several Google Suite apps like Gmail, Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. With this button, you can ask questions, write emails, and get summaries of documents and email threads. However, it's still unclear when these features will be available for everyone to use, as developers are still working on making the interfaces user-friendly. Now, while this technology is super exciting, Google is facing some serious challenges with their AI search features. As we all already know, recently they rolled out AI overviews in Google Search, designed to give you a quick summary of complex questions, kind of like a smarter, more detailed search result. However, there have been some hiccups. People on social media have pointed out some odd and inaccurate AI overviews. For instance, there were reports of AI overviews providing strange or misleading advice from user-generated content on forums. One funny example was an overview about how many rocks someone should eat. Obviously, that's not a common or sensible question. Now, Google has been quick to address these issues. First, they rolled back the new AI overviews feature in Search, and then they released a post saying that they've made technical improvements to better detect nonsensical queries and limit satire or humor content. They've also refined how they handle user-generated content to avoid misleading information. Plus, they've put additional guardrails in place for sensitive topics like news and health. It's clear Google is committed to improving these tools, but the recent mishaps have highlighted some of the challenges they face in making sure their AI is accurate and reliable. All right, now we also have some news regarding Elon Musk's AI company, xAI, and their latest developments with the Grok AI chatbot. If you're already familiar with Grok, you know it's a pretty impressive tool that's available online and through the X social platform. Well, it looks like xAI is gearing up to roll out 2 new modes for Grok, Socrates and DEI. According to the X Daily News, xAI might soon introduce these 2 new modes. Grok already has a few modes, including Normal Mode, Fun Mode, and the recently announced Unhinged Mode, which offers a more unpredictable and entertaining interaction style. First, let's talk about the DEI mode. This stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. When you select this mode, Grok will be described as the Senior Vice President of DE&I, okay? Even the Grok icon gets a makeover and becomes more colorful. The idea here is that Grok will handle responses with a focus on inclusivity and sensitivity. Now, there's been some chatter on social media about this mode. For example, Testing Catalog on X mentioned that they're curious if this is Elon Musk poking fun at companies like Google, or if it's a genuine effort to promote DE&I. Honestly, I think it could be a bit of both. Knowing Elon, he loves to stir the pot, but it also seems like a must-have addition, given today's emphasis on inclusivity. According to another X post, this mode is already implemented and functioning on the standalone version of Grok, but it's not available to the public just yet. The standalone Grok is only accessible in the US for now, and if you ask Grok an incorrect question in this mode, it's designed to handle the response thoughtfully, addressing all the nuances. Now, the Socrates mode, named after the famous philosopher, this mode isn't operational yet, but there are hints it's in the works. While details are scarce, we can imagine that Socrates mode might involve Grok taking on a more inquisitive and thoughtful personality, prompting users to think deeper and engage in more meaningful conversations. It's actually exciting to see how xAI is expanding Grok's capabilities, making it more versatile and engaging for users. All right, now, if you're into making videos, podcasts, movies, or even games, you're gonna love this. 11 Labs, already known for their AI-generated human voices and music, has just launched a sound effects AI tool that lets you create custom sound effects just by typing in a prompt. So here's how it works. You type in what kind of sound effect you need. Maybe it's an explosion, a creaky door, or some spooky background noise. And the AI generates up to 22 seconds of that sound for you. You get at least 4 downloadable audio clip options to choose from, so you can pick the one that fits your project best. 11 Labs actually partnered with Shutterstock to build a library and train their AI model. Shutterstock is a big name in stock media, and they've licensed their content to lots of AI companies like OpenAI, Meta, and Google. This means the sound effects you get from 11 Labs are based on high-quality professional clips.
Create any sound you can imagine.
Now, let's talk about the cost. The sound effects tool is free to use, but there are paid tiers if you want to use the sounds commercially. If you're on the free tier, you'll need to give credit to 11 Labs by including 11labs.io in your project's title. Free users get 10,000 characters per month for writing prompts. For sound effects, it uses 40 characters per second of audio if you set the duration yourself, or 200 characters if you go with the default duration. There are already plenty of libraries out there for sound effects, but they can be pricey or hard to navigate. 11 Labs says their tool is designed to generate rich, immersive soundscapes quickly, affordably, and at scale. This could be a game changer for creators who need specific sounds without the hassle. 11 Labs isn't the only one in the game, though. Other AI developers like Stability AI and Meta are also working on their own text-to-sound generators. Stability AI has stable audio, which can create music and sound effects. And Meta's AudioCraft models can generate natural sounds like wind or traffic. All right, finally, I have to tell you about this super cool invention from researchers at Cambridge University, a robotic third thumb. And it's not some weird extra finger made of flesh, it's a mechanical digit that's surprisingly easy to use. The researchers showed off this third thumb in a demo video, and it looks like it can be used for all sorts of things. People were doing everyday tasks, playing games like Jenga, soldering, and even playing the guitar with it. It's pretty impressive. It's designed to be inclusive for all sorts of people. They tested it with folks aged from 3 to 96 years old. Out of 596 people, only 13 couldn't use it within the first minute. That's a 98% success rate. It didn't matter if you were young, old, left-handed, or right-handed. Almost everyone got the hang of it quickly. So how do you control this third thumb? It's funny, actually, because there are no sensors or probes attached to your hand. Instead, you use your toes. Moving your left big toe makes the thumb go up and down, and your right toe moves it across your palm. You can make all sorts of precise movements just by wiggling your toes. The researchers believe this third thumb could be useful for a wide range of people, regardless of their age, gender, lifestyle, or even whether they're tech savvy or not. It could help with daily tasks, work, or just for fun. Plus, it might be a great tool for people who are missing a finger or two. All right, super exciting stuff coming out of Google's DeepMind. So they've come up with a new way to train AI models that's not only faster, but also way more efficient. This method is called JEST, which stands for Joint Example Selection. And trust me, it's pretty revolutionary, so let's talk about it. All right, so if you know anything about AI, you know that training these models usually takes a ton of time and a lot of computing power. It's like trying to teach a child every subject in school one by one, and it's super energy intensive. For example, systems like ChatGPT guzzle a lot of power and water to keep those massive data centers cool. There are even comparisons to the energy demands of Bitcoin mining. Yeah, it's that intense. But here's where JEST comes into play. The researchers at DeepMind have found a way to make this whole process way more efficient. How efficient? Like up to 13 times fewer iterations and 10 times less computation. That's a game changer for both speed and energy consumption. So how does JEST work? Instead of picking individual pieces of data to train on, which is what's usually done, JEST looks at groups or batches of data and picks the best ones that work well together. Think of trying to learn multiple languages. Instead of learning English, then German, then Norwegian separately, you might find it more effective to study them in a way where what you learn in one language helps you understand the others. That's essentially what JEST does, but with data. Here's a bit more on the technical side, but I'll keep it simple. The method Jest uses is called multimodal contrastive learning. This means it looks at different types of data, like images and text, together, and it identifies dependencies between them. This approach significantly speeds up the learning process because the AI can learn from these well-matched data batches much more efficiently. What makes Jest even cooler is that it starts with something called a pre-trained reference model. This model helps steer the AI towards the high-quality, well-curated data, making the training even more efficient. Now, the study showed that using Jest, they could achieve the same performance as traditional methods with up to 13 times fewer iterations. Also, it requires 10 times less computational power. So, in terms of energy consumption, that's a massive reduction, which is great news for the environment. Now, the Jest research comes not a moment too soon, as the tech industry and world governments are beginning discussions on artificial intelligence's extreme power demands. To give you an idea, AI workloads consumed about 4.3 gigawatts in 2023, which is almost equivalent to the annual power consumption of the entire nation of Cyprus. And this trend is only going up. A single ChatGPT request currently costs 10 times more in power than a Google search. It's estimated that AI might take up a quarter of the United States power grid by 2030. Therefore, any method like Jest that can drastically cut down on the power required for training AI models is incredibly significant, potentially easing the environmental impact and the financial costs associated with AI advancements. Furthermore, the success of the Jest method hinges on the quality of the training data. The bootstrapping technique utilized by Jest requires a highly curated initial dataset to function effectively. This means that while Jest shows great promise for large-scale, well-funded AI projects, it might pose challenges for hobbyists or smaller developers who lack the resources to compile high-grade training data. Essentially, this method emphasizes the old adage of garbage in, garbage out, underlining the necessity for top-tier data to achieve optimal results. If implemented widely, however, Jest could revolutionize how major players in the AI industry approach model training, possibly reducing costs and power consumption while accelerating development timelines. Another neat thing they found is something they call data quality bootstrapping. It sounds fancy, but it's pretty straightforward. It means using a small, highly curated set of data to guide the training on a much larger, messier set of data. So even if you start with a tiny, really good data set, Jest can help you scale up to train on a vast amount of data efficiently without losing quality. This is a big deal because high-quality data sets are usually hard and expensive to create. Now, this method isn't just limited to one type of data or task. It works across various benchmarks, which means it's versatile. For example, they tested it on a data set called WebLI, which is a large-scale collection of images and text from the web. And the results showed remarkable improvements in both learning speed and resource efficiency. So if Jest proves effective on a larger scale, it could drastically reduce the power needed to train AI models. This means we could develop more powerful AI tools with the same resources we use now, or use fewer resources to create new models. Essentially, we're looking at faster advancements in technology, less strain on our energy resources, and a smaller environmental footprint. It's a win-win-win. All right, now, the big AI companies in China have been making some major claims about their large language models at this huge AI conference happened recently. It's like a competition to see who can boast the most impressive advances. You know what I mean? So there's this company called SenseTime. They're kind of big shots in the AI game over there. They just unveiled the latest versions of their SenseNova LLMs, and get this, they're claiming the new 5.5 model is like 30% better than the previous one from just a few months ago. Wild, right? The CEO, Xu Li, he was on stage hyping it up big time, saying the key to success in Chinese AI is basically building these high-level logic systems using synthetic data for different industries. Xu claimed that this 5.5 model supposedly outperformed GPT-4o, the latest and greatest from OpenAI, in 5 out of 8 key metrics according to some benchmarking data from a platform called OpenCompass. I mean, take that with a grain of salt for sure, but still, that's a pretty big flex. Flexing on OpenAI like that is a gutsy move. Now, despite making these huge claims about their model's performance, SenseTime's stock price actually tanked like 16% on the same day in Hong Kong. Crazy reversal, right? You'd think investors would be stoked about supposedly having a model that can take down GPT-4, but I guess the market had other ideas. And it's not just SenseTime making noise at this conference. Oh no, Alibaba's cloud division, the folks behind the Tongyi Chanwen LLMs, they were bragging about getting like millions of new downloads and a surge in customers for their AI platform in just the last couple of months. The CTO, Joe Jingren, he was really pushing this whole open source angle hard, saying their models are now fully open source and closing the gap with closed source ones from the big Western players. Smart move, if you ask me, makes it more accessible and gets more eyes on their tech. But here's the wildest part of it all. There's this AI startup CEO, Yan Junji, from a company called Minimax. And he straight up predicted that in the future, there will only be like 5 companies making these huge LLMs globally. Now that's a hot take if I've ever heard one, right? I mean, could you imagine that kind of consolidation happening? Just 5 players controlling the entire large language model space worldwide? Insane to think about. Of course, Yan didn't actually say how many of those 5 would be Chinese companies, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But the implication is clear. He thinks there's a real chance for Chinese firms to be among that tiny elite group someday. Whether that's realistic or not, I'll leave that up to you to decide. Oh, and back to SenseTime for a sec. They also showed off a couple of other new models at this big Shanghai conference. The first is called 5.0, and it's this multimodal model that can combine different data types like text, images, video, all that jazz into one seamless experience. And they did a live demo with the 5.0 that was low-key mind-blowing, not gonna lie. So there's this SenseTime employee on stage, right? And he takes a video of himself just standing there, seemingly nothing special. But then the 5.0 model instantly identifies that he's attending this World AI conference thing just from analyzing his staff badge and t-shirt in the video. It's wild, but it gets even crazier. The model could then answer follow-up questions about what the conference is for and all the deets, like it achieved true understanding from just that little video clip. I'm talking next level, multimodal AI capabilities on display here, folks. So yeah, between the bold performance claims, the open source pushes, the predictions of an LLM oligopoly, and the awesome tech demos, it's been an absolute whirlwind of big moves and even bigger ambitions from the Chinese AI giants at this conference. And that's not even getting into what companies like Baidu and Tencent were unveiling. It's definitely an exciting time in the AI space, that's for sure. And it'll be fascinating to see how all these moonshot plays actually pan out in the real world. Can the Chinese models really take down the Western juggernauts? Will we see a small group of ultra-dominant LLM providers emerge globally? So many intriguing possibilities. One thing's for certain though, these Chinese tech companies are clearly not messing around. They've got their sights set on AI supremacy, and they're going all in to make it happen, whether that's through cutting-edge R&D, savvy business strategies, or sheer bravado and ambition. Meta has just rolled out a really exciting new feature called AI Studio. Now, this is something that has the potential to change the way we interact with AI and create our own personalized AI characters. So, as the name suggests, AI Studio is a platform that allows you to create, share, and discover AI characters that you can chat with. And the best part is, you don't need any technical skills or programming knowledge to use it. It's designed to be accessible to everyone. Basically, you can create an AI character based on your interests, hobbies, or even your personality.
These AIs will be able to be embodied as avatars. You'll be able to make them as NPCs in the different games and experiences that you build and all of the different Horizon worlds.
You can make an AI that teaches you how to cook, helps you with your social media captions, generates memes, or really anything you can imagine. The process of creating your AI character is quite straightforward. You can either use one of the provided prompt templates or start from scratch. Once you've decided on the purpose and personality of your AI, you can customize its name, tone, avatar, and even a tagline.
Max the sous chef, who can help you come up with a recipe and help you come up with ideas. So if you want to find a way to sneak some broccoli into your kid's dinner.
Meta has also provided a step-by-step guide with expert tips and best practices to help you bring your AI character to life. Now, one of the really cool things about AI Studio is that you can choose whether you want your AI character to be just for your personal use, or if you want to share it with your friends, followers, or even make it available for anyone to discover and chat with on Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, and the web. Meta has already showcased some interesting AI characters created by others, such as Eat Like You Live There, by chef Mark Murphy, which offers personalized tips for embracing local dining customs while traveling. Or What Lens Bro by photographer and videographer Angel Barkley, which provides tips on finding the perfect lens for your shot. There's also the Flip Positive Affirmation Dog by actor and pet advocate Rocky Kanaka, which gives you positive affirmations tailored to you. But this tool isn't just for regular users, it also has a really interesting feature for creators on Instagram. With AI Studio, creators can set up an AI as an extension of themselves that can quickly answer common DM questions and story replies. This AI can share facts about the creator, link to their favorite brands and past videos, and generally help them reach more fans and respond faster. Creators can actually customize their AI based on their Instagram content, topics to avoid, and links they want it to share. They can also control when the AI auto-replies and to whom it responds. And of course, all responses from creator AIs are clearly labeled, so there's full transparency for fans. Some creators like Chris Ashley, Violet Benson, Don Allen, and Kane Calloway have already created their own AIs, and you can check them out by tapping the message button with the sparkles emoji icon on their Instagram profiles. Of course, any new technology comes with concerns about safety and responsible use. Meta has addressed these by implementing policies and protections to ensure AIs are used responsibly, keeping interactions with AIs both fun and helpful. Overall, I think AI Studio is a really exciting development, and it's just the beginning of a world where anyone can harness the creative capabilities of AI. I'm really looking forward to seeing what kinds of AI characters people come up with, and how creators will use this feature. Let me know what you think about AI Studio in the comments below, and if you plan on creating your own AI character, I'd love to hear about it. Alright, now Meta has also just launched the Segment Anything Model 2, or SAM2 for short, and this is actually exciting news because it's the first unified model that can identify which pixels belong to a target object in an image or video. You see, segmentation, which is the process of identifying which image pixels belong to an object, has a lot of practical applications. It can help with tasks like analyzing scientific imagery or editing photos. Meta's original Segment Anything model, which was released last year, has already inspired new AI-enabled image editing tools in their apps, like Backdrop and cutouts on Instagram. It's also been used in various industries, such as marine science for segmenting sonar images and analyzing coral reefs, satellite imagery analysis for disaster relief, and even in the medical field for segmenting cellular images and aiding in detecting skin cancer. What's really amazing is that SAM2 takes this capability a step further by extending it to video. Essentially, it can segment any object in an image or video and consistently follow it across all frames of a video in real time. Now, this might sound simple, but it's actually a really challenging task. In videos, objects can move fast, change in appearance, and be concealed by other objects or parts of the scene. Meta had to solve a lot of these challenges to make SAM2 a reality. Just imagine the possibilities this unlocks. Easier video editing and generation for sure, but also new experiences in mixed reality. You could use SAM2 to track a target object in a video to aid in faster annotation of visual data for training computer vision systems, like the ones used in autonomous vehicles, or you could have creative ways of selecting and interacting with objects in real time or in live videos. One of the really exciting aspects of SAM2 that Mark Zuckerberg highlighted is its potential applications in studying natural habitats and ecosystems. Scientists often use these kinds of models to study things like coral reefs and monitor changes over time. But as Zuckerberg pointed out, being able to do this in video and have it be zero shot and tell it what you want, it's pretty cool. The fact that SAM2 can perform this kind of segmentation for videos is a testament to the rapid advances happening in the AI industry, particularly in terms of processing power. Zuckerberg mentioned that just 1 year ago, applying image segmentation to video wouldn't have been possible. Now, in keeping with Meta's open science approach, the SAM2 model is being open sourced and you can download it from GitHub. There's also a free demo available for anyone to try out, which is really cool. Zuckerberg shared some insights into the training process for SAM2. He said the model was trained on a massive amount of data, including an annotated database of about 50,000 videos that was created specifically for this purpose. Additionally, it was also trained on a second database with more than 100,000 videos, but that one is not being made public. He didn't go into details, but it's reasonable to assume that those videos are likely to be user-generated content from Facebook and Instagram. In the chat with Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, Mark Zuckerberg admitted that while Meta is committed to open sourcing much of its AI research, the company still has commercial interests at heart. He said, "We're not doing this because we're altruistic people, even though I think that this is going to be helpful for the ecosystem. We're doing it because we think that this is going to make the thing that we're building the best." And that's a fair point, right? At the end of the day, Meta is a business, and they want to leverage cutting-edge AI technologies like SAM 2 to enhance their products and services. But by open sourcing the model and sharing their research, they're also contributing to the broader AI community and enabling others to explore new use cases and applications. Meta has shared their research on SAM 2 with the open science approach, which means others can explore new capabilities and use cases for this technology. They're really excited to see what the AI community does with this research, and honestly, so am I. If you're working on something related to this, definitely let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. All right, guys, let's talk about the new frontier in robotics because things are heating up big time. We've got some insane developments that are basically bringing us into the future we've all been waiting for. Think humanoid robots, and not just as some distant sci-fi dream, but as something that's practically on our doorstep. We're talking mass production, deliveries starting this year, robots that can do everything from house chores to industrial tasks. And get this, these things are going to be direct competitors to Tesla's Optimus, so let's talk about it. First up, let's zoom in on Shanghai, where things are getting real with the first ever humanoid robot factory. Shanghai is about to start cranking out humanoid robots like nobody's business. This factory, built by a local startup called Agibot, is set to start deliveries in October this year. By the end of 2024, they're aiming to ship out 300 robots. 200 of those are bipedal, and 100 are the wheeled variety. That's not a small feat at all.
在过去的1年时间里，我们的产品已经覆盖了多个应用领域。
So Agibot is no newcomer. They've been working hard in the Lingang Special Area, which is part of Shanghai's free trade zone, since February last year. It's a prime spot for innovation thanks to some serious support from the local government. The company's founder, Peng Zhihui, was actually a genius youth recruit at Huawei, where he worked on AI chips and algorithms before deciding to strike out on his own. And that move is really paying off. Just to give you an idea of what these robots can do, Agibot recently unveiled 5 new models at a launch event. These aren't your run-of-the-mill robots either. We're talking about bipedal and wheeled bots designed for a whole range of tasks, from interactive services and smart manufacturing to scientific research, data collection, and even special operations. One of their bipedal humanoid robots, the Lingxi X1, is going to be open-sourced in a full-stack manner. This means they're publishing a lot of the design material and codes, so developers around the world can get involved and push the technology even further. By November, the factory's production is expected to hit 100 units per month and will ramp up even more by December. This is like the start of an assembly line for the future, mass-producing humanoid robots that could potentially become as common as smartphones. Now let's talk competition, because you know where this is going. The minute you hear humanoid robots, you gotta think about Tesla and their Optimus project. Elon Musk has been hyping up Optimus as the next big thing, and honestly, the stakes are high. But Agibot's founder Peng Zhihui isn't backing down. He's pretty much laid it out there that Agibot is going head-to-head with Tesla. So what makes Agibot's robots a contender against the might of Tesla? First off, their flagship model, the Yuanjing A2, is nothing to sneeze at. This thing stands 175 centimeters, 5'8" tall, weighs 55 kilograms, which is around 120 pounds, and is packed with sensors and AI that allow it to see, hear, and understand a whole bunch of inputs like text, audio, and visual data. It's designed to be incredibly precise, so precise that it can thread a needle, which is something that even a lot of humans struggle with. Peng and his team are super confident in their commercialization and cost control abilities. They believe that they can roll out these robots more efficiently and at a lower cost than Tesla. Peng's vision is not just about selling robots, it's about making them accessible and practical in a way that hasn't been done before.
那么我叫远征 AR， 是一款面向交互服务场景的智能机器人。我的设计理念基于对人类行为和形态的深刻理解。
With Agibot planning to ship 300 units by the end of this year, they're not just talking big, they're actually delivering. But here's the thing. The humanoid robot space is rapidly becoming a new battleground in the tech world, especially between the US and China. We're talking about a market that's projected to be worth over 20 billion yuan, that's about 2.8 billion USD, by 2026. That's a massive leap from the 3.9 billion yuan market size in 2023, and everyone wants a piece of that pie. Agibot isn't going it alone either. They've got some serious backing from major players like venture capital firm Hongshan, Hill House Investment, and even BYD, which is one of China's electric vehicle giants. With this level of support and Peng's impressive track record, remember, he was pulling in a cool 2 million yuan a year at Huawei before he left. The future looks bright for Agibot. Now, if you think Agibot and Tesla are the only ones in this game, think again. Enter Unitree Robotics, another Chinese company that's been making waves with their own humanoid robots. Their G1 model is already making headlines, especially because it's priced at just $16,000. That's a fraction of what some of the other bots in this space are going for. Unitree originally focused on four-legged robots, think robo-dogs, but they've quickly pivoted to bipedal humanoids. The G1 is their latest offering, and it's pretty impressive. It's got a visor-like face, 3-digit hands, and can do some seriously complex moves like leaping, twisting, and even dancing. In fact, there's a video out there showing it tackling stairs cluttered with debris, jogging, and even resisting a few intentional pushes from one of the developers. This thing is built to perform, and it's ready for mass production. What's cool about the G1 is its versatility. It stands 1.32 meters tall, weighs 35 kilograms, and can fold down small enough to fit in a cupboard. It's got 23 degrees of freedom in its joints, meaning it can move in a very human-like way. On top of that, it's equipped with 3D LiDAR, a RealSense depth camera, noise-canceling microphones for voice commands, and a stereo speaker for responses. The battery gives you about 2 hours of use on a single charge, which isn't bad at all for a humanoid robot. So, what's the deal with Unitree's G1? Well, at $16,000, this robot could very well become the household butler we've all been waiting for. It's not just a gadget, it's a glimpse into a future where robots could be as common in our homes as vacuum cleaners or dishwashers. And with mass production on the horizon, that future might be closer than we think. Now, there is also Stardust Intelligence and their new Astrobot S1, which was just launched on August 19th this year. This bot is designed from the ground up with AI in mind, and it's aiming to be the most versatile, intelligent, and useful robot assistant out there. The S1 is packed with cutting-edge technology that allows it to perform a wide range of tasks, from ironing clothes and sorting items to cooking stir-fry and even stacking cups competitively. It's got a design for AI architecture, which means it's not just about following commands. It can learn, adapt, and think on its own. It's almost like having a human assistant, but without the need for breaks or vacations. What really sets the S1 apart is its ability to handle complex long sequence tasks. We're talking about preparing food, brewing kung fu tea, and even performing musical instruments. It can mimic Wing Chun martial arts and shoot basketballs with the precision of a pro. Stardust Intelligence has clearly put a lot of thought into making this robot not just functional, but highly skilled and adaptable. The S1's hardware is just as impressive as its AI. It features a unique, rigid, flexible coupled transmission mechanism that monitors force transmission in real time. This allows it to control its movements with incredible precision, avoiding accidents or damage during operation. And because it's designed for universal applications, it can be used in research, commercial settings, or even at home. Stardust Intelligence is pushing the boundaries of what robots can do, and they're planning to complete the commercialization of the S1 by the end of 2024. With its ability to understand and interact with the world like a human, the S1 is a major step toward achieving artificial general intelligence, AGI. And given its self-developed components and cost advantages, it could be a game changer in the AI and robotics space. So essentially, the race isn't just about building the coolest robot, it's about making them practical, affordable, and something we can all actually use. The next few years will be key as these companies fine-tune their tech and get ready to launch their robots into the world. For us, it's an exciting time. Robots are becoming more than just machines. They're becoming partners, helpers, maybe even friends. So keep an eye on these developments because the future is happening right now. Meta has just dropped a bombshell in the AI world with their latest release, the Llama 3.1 AI model. and it's pretty groundbreaking. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get started. All right, so Meta's been gaining a lot of attention with its Llama models for a while, but with Llama 3.1, they've really upped their game. The star of this release is obviously the 405B model, which is touted as the world's largest and most capable OpenAI model, and it's setting some serious benchmarks in the industry. The Llama 3.1 405B model packs a whopping 405 billion parameters. Now, to put that in perspective, parameters are like the brain cells of AI models. The more you have, the smarter and more capable your model can be. Meta trained this model on over 15 trillion tokens, which are essentially fragments of words, phrases, figures, and punctuation. This colossal training required the equivalent of 30.84 million GPU hours and produced the equivalent of 11,390 tons of CO2 emissions. It's a massive undertaking, but the results speak for themselves. Now, this model has been trained on 16,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. These are top-of-the-line GPUs that are essential for handling the immense computational load required to train such a large model. Despite its size, Meta claims that the Llama 3.1 405B can go head-to-head with some of the biggest names in AI, like OpenAI's GPT-4 and Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet. That's a bold claim, but Meta's experimental evaluations suggest it's competitive across a range of tasks, from generating prose to answering chat responses. Now, one of the most exciting aspects of Llama 3.1 is its openness. Meta has released this model as open source, which is a big deal. In the world of AI, open source means that the code and the model are available for anyone to use, modify, and improve. This approach has a lot of benefits. For one, it allows for a broader ecosystem of developers and companies to build upon the model, creating new tools, services, and applications. It also means that the technology is more accessible and can be used in a wider range of applications, from academic research to commercial products. Meta has also rolled out updated versions of their smaller Llama models, the 70B and 8B variants. These models have been upgraded with support for 8 languages: English, German, French, Italian, Portuguese, Hindi, Spanish, and Thai. They've also been given a much larger context window, now supporting up to 128,000 tokens. A context window is like an AI's short-term memory. The bigger it is, the more information the model can hold on to at any given moment. This is particularly useful for tasks like long-form summarization or coding assistance, where a lot of context is needed to generate accurate responses. One of the challenges with running such a large model like the 405B is the hardware requirements. At 405 billion parameters, it requires roughly 810 GB of memory to run at the full 16-bit precision it was trained at. This is more than a single NVIDIA DGX H100 system, which has 8 H100 accelerators in a box, can handle. To address this, Meta has released an 8-bit quantized version of the model, which cuts the memory footprint roughly in half. Quantization is a technique used to reduce the precision of the model's parameters, which makes it more efficient to run without significantly impacting performance. Now, let's talk about why this matters. For developers and organizations, the open source nature of Llama 3.1 means they can train, fine-tune, and distill their own models. This flexibility is crucial because different organizations have different needs. Some might require small models for on-device tasks and classification, while others might need larger models for more complicated tasks. With Llama 3.1, you can take the most advanced models, continue training them with your own data, and then distill them down to the optimal size for your specific use case. Meta is also collaborating with a range of companies to grow the broader ecosystem. Amazon, Databricks, and NVIDIA are launching full suites of services to support developers in fine-tuning and distilling their own models. Companies like Grok have built low-latency, low-cost inference, serving for all the new models. The models will be available on all major clouds, including AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle, and more. Companies like Scale AI, Dell, and Deloitte are ready to help enterprises adopt Llama and train custom models with their own data. This collective effort will help make Llama the industry standard and bring the benefits of AI to everyone. Meta's commitment to open source is driven by several factors. First, it ensures that they always have access to the best technology and are not locked into a competitor's closed ecosystem. This is crucial for Meta, especially given the constraints they faced with platforms like Apple. By building an open ecosystem, Meta and other companies can innovate more freely without being restricted by arbitrary rules and constraints imposed by closed platforms. Second, open sourcing Llama allows for a more competitive AI landscape. AI development is highly competitive, and open sourcing a model doesn't give away a massive advantage because the field is constantly evolving. By consistently releasing competitive, efficient, and open models generation after generation, Meta can ensure that Llama remains at the forefront of AI development. And third, selling access to AI models isn't Meta's business model. This means that openly releasing Llama doesn't undercut their revenue or ability to invest in research. This is a significant advantage over closed model providers who rely on selling access to their models for revenue. Finally, Meta has a long history of successful open source projects. They've saved billions of dollars by releasing their server, network, and data center designs with the Open Compute Project and have benefited from the ecosystem's innovations. Projects like PyTorch and React have become industry standards, and Meta aims to achieve similar success with Llama. Open source AI is also beneficial for the world. It ensures that more people have access to the benefits and opportunities of AI, prevents power from being concentrated in the hands of a few companies, and promotes the even and safe deployment of AI technology across society. There is an ongoing debate about the safety of open source AI models, but Meta believes that open source AI will be safer than closed alternatives. Open source allows for greater transparency and scrutiny, which historically has led to more secure software. Now, Meta's safety process for Llama includes rigorous testing and red teaming to assess potential risks and mitigate them before release. The models are also developed with safety systems like Llama Guard, which helps ensure they are used responsibly. Since these models are trained on information already available on the internet, the starting point for considering harm is whether a model can facilitate more harm than information that can quickly be retrieved from search engines like Google. Regarding intentional harm, Meta believes that a world where AI is widely deployed is safer because larger actors can check the power of smaller bad actors. Larger institutions deploying AI at scale will promote security and stability across society. Open source promotes this balance by ensuring that everyone has access to similar generations of models. Meta also addresses the geopolitical implications of open source AI. Some argue that closing models is necessary to prevent adversaries like China from gaining access to them. However, Meta believes that this approach will not work and will only disadvantage the US and its allies. Instead, building a robust open ecosystem and working closely with the government and allies will provide a sustainable first-mover advantage and ensure that the latest advances are accessible to those who need them most. The Llama 3.1 release is not just about the models themselves, but also about the broader ecosystem Meta is building. Meta has released a reference system that includes sample apps and components like the Llama Guard 3 safety model and Prompt Guard, its prompt injection filter. They're also seeking feedback from industry partners, startups, and community members to shape the future of the Llama stack. This will eventually form a series of standardized interfaces that define how toolchain components and agentic applications should be built, with the goal of making these interfaces the industry standard. Meta's approach to AI development is reminiscent of the open-source Linux kernel's victory over proprietary Unix operating systems. Just as Linux gained popularity and became the industry standard by being open, affordable, and more advanced over time, Meta believes that AI will develop in a similar way. By investing in open-source AI, Meta aims to build a robust ecosystem that will benefit everyone, from startups and universities to large enterprises and governments. With the Llama 3.1 release, Meta is not only advancing AI technology, but also promoting a vision of an open and collaborative future. They're committed to enabling as many developers and partners as possible to use Llama and building partnerships to offer unique functionality to their customers. This release is a significant step towards making open-source AI the industry standard and bringing the benefits of AI to everyone in the world. You're not going to believe this, but Agility Robotics' humanoid robot Digit just landed its first official job, and it's a game changer for the entire industry. Yes, an actual humanoid robot is now working in a real warehouse, and it's kind of a big deal. This is something that robotics companies have been working towards for years, and Agility Robotics has just taken a massive leap ahead of the competition. Right, so Agility Robotics has signed a multi-year deal with GXO Logistics, which is a massive logistics company. We're talking the world's largest pure-play contract logistics provider. That's a pretty big deal in itself, but it gets better. Under this deal, GXO is going to deploy a small fleet of Digit robots at a Spanx facility in Connecticut. But wait, why would a logistics company need a humanoid robot? Well, hear me out. Digit is designed to work alongside other robots and human workers in warehouses, and it's uniquely suited for this kind of task. It's a humanoid robot, which means it's built to move and operate in environments designed for humans. It can navigate through tight spaces, climb stairs, and handle objects in a way that's similar to how we humans do it. In this case, Digit is picking up totes from these little autonomous mobile robots called Chucks, made by a company called 6 River Systems. Now, these Chucks are pretty cool. They're like little robot helpers that can zip around the warehouse and deliver totes to different stations. But here's where Digit comes in. This humanoid can grab the totes, whether they're empty or full of Spanx products, and place them onto conveyors. It's like having an extra set of hands, but instead of hands, it's a 5'9" 140-pound robot that can lift up to 35 pounds. Now, this is a big deal for a few reasons. First of all, it's the first time a humanoid robot has been officially deployed in a commercial setting like this. It's not just a pilot or a proof of concept. Agility Robotics is actually getting paid for Digit services under a robotics as a service model. So they're making real money from this deal, which is pretty cool. Or scary, depending on how you look at it. But it's definitely a testament to the hard work and innovation that Agility Robotics has put into developing Digit and making it a practical, commercially viable solution. Secondly, it's kind of like a milestone for the entire humanoid robotics industry. Agility Robotics CEO Peggy Johnson said that this is just the beginning and there will be many more firsts to come as the humanoid robot market grows. She's really proud that Agility is the first company to actually have humanoid robots deployed and generating revenue by solving real-world problems. And let's not forget, Peggy Johnson is no stranger to the tech world. She's a veteran technology leader who previously served as CEO of Magic Leap, the augmented reality company. So when she says this is a big deal, you know it's a big deal. Now, to be honest, here are a ton of companies working on humanoid robots, and it's kind of like an arms race to see who can get their robots out there and working in the real world first. Companies like Boston Dynamics, Figure, Fourier Intelligence, Sanctuary, Tesla, and Unitree are all working on humanoid robots, and they're all trying to be the first to crack the commercial market. But Agility Robotics seems to be leading the pack when it comes to getting their robots out there and actually working in real-world settings. They've been at this for a while. The company was founded way back in 2015, and they initially built a robot called Cassie for researchers and developers before turning their attention to commercial humanoids like Digit. Of course, this is just the beginning. The companies say they'll continue to explore more use cases for Digit and potentially scale up the deployment if it goes well. And don't forget, GXO is also testing out other humanoid robots like Apollo from a company called Apptronic. So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're really taking a smart approach by trying out different robots and seeing what works best for their operations. But for now, Agility Robotics and Digit are kind of in the spotlight. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out and whether other companies can catch up or if Agility can maintain its lead in the commercial humanoid robot race. There are still a lot of challenges to overcome, like developing safety standards for humanoid robots working alongside humans, but this is a huge step in the right direction. So guys, this is really happening. We've reached a point where a humanoid robot is actually working a real job. This is the outcome of years of research and development in the robotics field, and it's just the beginning of a huge transformation in how warehouses and other facilities run. Who knows, maybe one day we'll all have robot coworkers helping out at work. But one thing's clear, the future of humanoid robotics has officially arrived and Agility Robotics is leading the charge. Now, just as humanoid robots are starting to take over real-world jobs, a similar trend is emerging in the digital realm of AI. The New York Times is in hot water because their union is claiming the paper is firing artists and replacing them with AI. According to a leaked memo obtained by The Wrap, the NYT Guild said that firing 9 out of 16 artists is all about saving money, not about the quality of work. The union is really upset about this because it means more than half of the art department is gone, all thanks to AI. This is happening while the whole industry is grappling with the rise of AI technology. Interestingly, these layoffs come as the NYT is suing OpenAI and Microsoft for using its copyrighted work without permission to train AI. They even spent $1 million on that lawsuit. A NYT representative said the artists were offered voluntary buyouts and claimed the cuts weren't about replacing people with AI, but they also didn't deny that the layoffs were linked to Claro, a software the company uses that has AI image intelligence. Despite the NYT saying Claro is standard in the industry, the union argues that AI can't replicate the work their artists do. The union pointed out that the artists work on every editorial image in the print newspaper, which brings in over 30% of the company's revenue. They believe cutting 9 human roles and expecting software to do the job is a bad move, especially since the company's use of AI is already causing job insecurity. Guild members also noted that the NYT recently won 9 gold medals from the Society for News Design, highlighting the importance of their art department. Art department editor Chris Cayley said that the professionals in their team are crucial to their high standards, and that Claro isn't good enough to replace them. Audrey Razgaitis, the art director for the Print Hub section, added that letting go of dedicated staff who help make the NYT visually impressive is just cruel and not what she expected from the company. Now, as the controversy at the New York Times highlights AI's impact on creative jobs, there's now an AI chatbot that's causing even more worry because it's really good at tricking people. Researchers are sounding the alarm over an AI chatbot that appears to be crossing ethical boundaries by pretending to be human. This chatbot, developed by a company called Bland AI for sales and customer support, can not only mimic human speech patterns, but also lie without being instructed to do so. In a viral video with over 3.7 million views, a person called the number on Bland AI's billboard, which asked, "Still hiring humans?" The caller was greeted by what sounded like a human woman, but it was later revealed to be an AI agent.
Hey, this is Bland AI. I'm an AI agent that makes millions of phone calls for businesses and in any voice. What's your name?
The bot's speech, pauses, and interruptions were so realistic that it would have been nearly impossible to tell it wasn't a real person if it hadn't identified itself as an AI. This blurring of the line between human and artificial intelligence raises serious ethical concerns. Jen Caltrider, the director of the Mozilla Foundation's Privacy Not Included Research Hub, stated, "It is not ethical for an AI chatbot to lie to you and say it's human when it's not. That's just a no-brainer because people are more likely to relax around a real human." In tests conducted by Wired, these AI voice bots successfully concealed their identities and pretended to be humans. In one disturbing demonstration, an AI bot role-played as a doctor and tricked a hypothetical teenager into uploading revealing photos under the guise of medical purposes. Researchers are calling this new trend human washing, where AI systems are designed to appear human intentionally. Emily Dardaman, an AI researcher, cited an organization that used deepfake footage of its CEO and marketing while simultaneously running a campaign guaranteeing its customers, "We're not AIs." The possibility of these lying AI bots being used for aggressive scams or manipulation is a significant concern. As AI outputs become increasingly authoritative and realistic, ethical researchers warn that failing to establish a clear divide between humans and AI could lead to a dystopian future. The emotional mimicry of these AI systems raises the risk of exploitation, particularly if there is no transparency about their artificial nature. Caltrider emphasizes the importance of demarcating a definitive line between humans and AI to prevent such a dystopian scenario from unfolding. So, as the AI technology becomes more sophisticated, it is crucial to address these concerns and ensure transparency and accountability in the development and deployment of AI systems. All right, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more updates. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.